Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the July 3rd Charlotte County Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing. At this moment, I would like to ask everyone to please stand and pledge for the United States of America. The day before our birthday. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now that we know we're not all British agents. This morning's hearing is quasi-judicial, which means that the only evidence that's going to be taken has to be sworn factual evidence or expert opinion. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ask everyone who intends to speak, whether it's your case or you're here as a member of the public speaking on one of the items, to please stand and be sworn in.
Will you raise your hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please answer, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I'll also, just for the record, disclose that I have not had any communications with any property owners or with county staff with regards to any of the cases that were going to be heard today. And for future reference, our next meeting will be on August 7th, 2019. At this time in the agenda, I'm going to open up the floor to public comments. These are not designed to be public comments on the actual cases, but if you are a member of the public, this is not your property, but you have something to say about one of the items on today, I'm going to go ahead and give you 3 minutes to come up and speak at the podium. If your case is here today, then I would ask that you please wait until we call your case. Staff has been taking your names, so what we'll do is we'll try to call everyone up out of order so that we can get you in and done with your day as quickly as possible. At this time, is there any citizen input on any agenda items? Okay, seeing none, I have but one change of the agenda, and that is affidavit of noncompliance, case number 18-03184 that has been continued. At this moment, we're going to take issues of affidavits of noncompliance. And so if you're here for one of those items, let me explain to you what that is. This is an imposition of the fine. This is not a reopening of the case. So we're not discussing the merits of the case. There's already been an order in those cases. The discussion is solely limited to whether or not there actually was a continuing violation after the date of the order in which the county had re-inspected the property. So if you were found in violation and they gave you 30 days to cure, or I gave you 30 days to cure, and then on the 31st day the property was still in violation, then there's going to be a fine imposed. If, however, you believe that the property was cleaned up or the issues addressed, there was no violation, well then I will hear that testimony, and that may have some impact on whether the imposition will go forward. Give me just 1 second. We're going to get a list of those who may be here for those items. Okay, the first case I'm going to call is
31.
Item number 31 on the agenda, COD 17-01771.
Sorry, it was actually item 8.
I apologize. Item 8. This is John and Cindy Parker Tomoka. Hey, why not? So are you Miss Cindy Tomoka?
Yes.
Ms. Tomoka, if you give me just a second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the code enforcement officer to sort of remind me what the case is.
Okay.
This is not one that was mine. And then once they sort of give me an introduction, I'll give you some time to speak. As soon as you're ready, officer.
Good morning, Gary Rotahorse, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. The property address is 3086 Terrywood Terrace. This came before the Special Magistrate on October 3rd of 2018. I conducted an inspection on April 23rd of 2019, finding the permits were still expired and the lanai was still enclosed. This is a 90-day fine in the amount of $4,520.
Okay, so this is pretty significant. The violation was just for expired permits?
There are 2 expired permits and closed lanai.
Ms. Parker, do you dispute that there were expired permits?
No, I do not.
What can I do for you, Ms. Parker?
I am low income. I have been under extreme, terrible circumstances. I have an apartment I rent out. For the last year, I have had a tenant in there that has not paid. If I had the money to finish my fence, I would have done it long ago. He has not paid me. I've taken him to small claims court. I almost lost my house because of him. My income is only $1,320 a month. I was unable to purchase the fence and have it installed through no fault of my own. This gentleman rented my apartment and scammed me.
Well, are you planning on going forward to get the permits finalized?
Yes, I am. I will definitely, within 6 months, I finally got him out of my apartment. I will get the permit, buy the fence, and have it installed. I will do whatever is deemed necessary.
Well, I believe the fence is already installed.
Well, there's still 6 sections I need.
You have the, I haven't looked back at the corrective action, but you could also remove the fence. Is that not still an option, or is there something permanent installed?
That would be an option, Your Honor, but then there's still the issue with the permit because it has partially been installed.
So you have to have someone final out the permit.
I will renew the permit this week, and as soon as I get my apartment rented, I will buy the fence and have it installed, and I will call inspection to come out and inspect it.
Ms. Parker, I'm not in a position to be able to undo the order that was placed on this property, but what I would recommend is, I'm going to go ahead and enter in the order for the lien because it accrued daily, and so that's the lien that's consistent with the order. But once you have finalized the permit,
Yes.
you'll be eligible to come into the county to ask for lien mitigation, and they'll reduce the fine.
Thank you.
But you have to be in compliance before that they can
Correct.
proceed.
I understand.
You can talk with Officer Roadhorse or someone else later on about what that process is, but
Okay.
unfortunately, I have to go ahead and impose the order, but there is an option for you after the fact to get things cleaned up.
I will do my best to get it done as soon as possible. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
So this one's for you.
Okay. Thank you. Next case is item number 31, COD 18-0388, Desmond Wint for 3116 Normandy Drive in Port Charlotte. Understand the owner's here. You, Mr. Wint?
Morning.
How are you doing, Mr. Wint? I'm going to ask Officer Leonard to give me a brief introduction since I'm unfamiliar with your case.
Rhonda Leonard, Certified Code Compliance Officer. The property address is 3116 Normandy Drive. The owner of the property is Desmond Sylvanus Wint. Case number COD-18-03888. This case was heard before the magistrate on March 6th of 2019 for violations of permits required. I re-inspected the property and reviewed permitting on May 3rd and found the violations were still existing. This is the first affidavit of noncompliance, which is a one-day fine in the amount of $70.
Say, Mr. Wint, do you understand what the county's case is?
Yeah, I do. And I heard what she said during then to comply with that. But I was working with her office and Mr. Robinson's office. And both of them weren't connecting. So I called her office to speak with her twice, 2 different days, didn't get her. And I was working with Mr. Robinson, and he said he's gonna work with me to give me the permit.
Okay.
So he and I was working together. He told me to take photographs, drop the area needed measurement. I did that. I turned it in. A gentleman from her office called me and asked me what's going on. I explained to him. He said I must continue to work with Mr. Robinson. When I get that paper from him, then I should bring it to her office. He didn't give me that paperwork. And so it's last Friday when Mr. Robinson told me that he won't be able to give me that permit or work with me in that department. And so that's when he told me that I will have to take it down, take that area down. So last Friday, which I already started, because I'm moving out. I have moved out the furnitures from outside. It's just the building itself need to be torn. But I lost a lot of furnitures in trying to move. So now I still got furnitures to stock.
Right.
So until I can move out those furnitures, which I'm going to have to just throw them away and just comply with what you guys wanted. So that's where things is at. It's just a furnishing that was moving and still have some to be moved. And there's a deck in the back of the yard. I want to find out, 'cause I can't pay storage at this time. So there's a deck in the back of the yard where I was thinking that I could put a roof on that. I won't be able to box it around, but just put a roof to save whatever left, because I've lost a lot. So that's where my situation is. I told him, Mr. Robinson, Friday, that yes, he gave me 6 months to demolish it. That's what I'm going to do, and that's what I already started. But like I said, I did have to secure my furnishings inside. I gave away some, threw away some. So that's the situation where I'm at. So I'm not.
So you're not going to finish out the permit to do the,
He haven't given me one. I really need a permit card. I spent so much money in trying to fix it in what I got. I didn't put it up. That's what I got. It's when the hurricane came and damaged it, then I request that permit. And that's when, instead of calling me in the office to explain why they can't give me a permit or why this place was put up without a permit, the response I got was to come to court. So they weren't working with me from the start. So instead of coming to me and say, let's try and work it out, they brought me here. This shouldn't be a court situation. This should just be an understanding of community and you guys working. So that's where it all developed and where it's at. So I'm willing to, if I could get the permit, I would willing to repair how they want, based on what they told me that they're gonna work with me and give me that. Then all of a sudden, last Friday, they told me no, I will have to take it down. So that's what I'm gonna do.
this was a previously unpermitted structure that he wanted to get fixed after the hurricane, but he needs to show engineering plans and everything.
That is correct, yes. It
All
was
after the
more
fact.
than half of the roof, windows and doors, the rear walls were completely rebuilt, which does require engineering. He did apply for a permit back in 2017. It was rejected in plans. Plans changes were never submitted. January this year, he tried to resubmit the same exact thing without any changes and was rejected again. And I just checked this morning, nothing new has been submitted on that permit to get it through the plans.
Mr. Robinson, one of the plans examiners?
Yes, he is.
Again, this is not one of the, Mr. Wink, this is not one of the items that I'm an ability to change the existing order on, so I'm going to go ahead and impose the fine. But can we note for the file that he's going to do a demo permit instead? But if he gets a demo permit and removes everything, then all the other permits that are expired or submitted, not expired, get wiped out?
Those can be closed out through the process, but
I'm sorry, Mr. Wynn, I'm sorry that this is not something that, outside of spending lots of money on engineering, to solve the problem of getting a permit?
4,000, over 5,000, because I did check with an engineer, and they came and look at it, $5,000.
But he didn't give you the plans to be able to submit it?
No.
Yeah, it seems like you're in a situation where it's not something you caused, but ultimately, you're the property owner, and the county has, an interest in making sure that buildings that are constructed, let's say you sell the building, so has to be engineered to meet the Florida building code, so someone has to sign off on it. If they can't, then unfortunately, it's a situation that you're in now where you're forced to tear it down. All right, thank you, Mr. Wynn.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next case, item 35 on the agenda, COD 18-02857, Ethel Thompson and Diana Randall for 30101 Oil Well Road in Punta Gorda. So another affidavit noncompliance for a one-day fine of $70. And I'm going to ask, what are your names?
It's not Randall anymore, it's Matthews
Matthews? Okay.
with one T.
Miss Matthews, I'm going to ask Officer Jewell to just give me some backup while I flip through your file.
Okay. Tracy Jewell, Charlotte County Code Compliance Officer. The property address is 30101 Oil Well Road, Punta Gorda, Florida, 33955. Owner of the property is Ethel Mae Thompson and Diana Mae Randall. The case number is COD-18-02857. Case was heard before the magistrate on April 3rd of 2019 for the violations of prohibited use and outside storage junk-like conditions. I re-inspected the property on April 19th, 2019, and found the violations substantially still exist. This is the first A&C, which is a one-day fine in the amount of $70.
Officer Jewell, has the property been cleaned up at some level?
Yes.
Okay. How much would you say is outstanding?
It was very, very small amount, but it was that date that I was there. The original case was also, there was chickens on the property, which I did not observe any on the date that I went. So that's one of them that has been cleared. On the date of my reinspection, I found outside storage of tarps, satellite dish on the ground, appliance, wood boards, plastic, and metal and assorted other debris. But it was enough that I could still do the NC.
All right. Miss Matthew, you understand what the county's case is?
No, I don't understand anything. I have nothing in writing. I've talked to people. Every time they've came, I've compliance with them. We've had the hurricane, which ruined a lot of stuff in my attic and in our sheds, and we've been cleaning out. The things under tarps are the boys' bikes and their four-wheelers, which that's what they're made for. But I have nothing in writing to do anything and how many days to do.
The stuff that, I'm sorry, I'm Holly here, I'm her daughter. The stuff that she's talking about, the satellite dish and the stuff that was, the small amount that was in the front, my brother and I literally just took it off the roof that day. And right before she came, we just threw it right in front of the house so that we can get rid of it. And that's when she came, and she made her so upset that literally my mom called me, like, trying to breathe, and she has COPD, and I literally had to try to yell at her to try to calm her down on the phone. But that was just something that my brother and I just took off the roof because we don't have direct TV anymore, so we took all the satellites off and all the wiring, and we just threw it out in the front.
Hey, and was that all? Where did it go? Is it still there now?
No, sorry, it's not there anymore.
And Officer Jewell, was all this I'll call her Miss Holly's testimony accurate? Was it all kind of piled up together?
There was some out front by the trash cans. However, there was some in the right back corner, a large pile of the wood, which was previously there in the original case.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a
The store knocked down the kids' play
Yeah, it was a
area.
playground, and we were trying to
Rebuild
save
it.
what we could so that we could rebuild it back up, which is being done, and it's already been cleared out and organized and stuff.
Right, but nobody gave me no time limit or nothing, and every time they came, I even made an appointment with Jason to come to see that I did comply with what he had told me to do.
Okay. And did he come out?
Yes, he did, and he said I was compliant, that he would take care of everything, that I didn't have to come. And I told the lady that he said that, because if he didn't say that, I would have been here.
The last time.
Is Officer Chekalinsky here?
Yeah, there he is.
you doing this morning?
Good, how are you?
Linsky.
Mr. Jason.
He's been working with.
And what, is that accurate? Was the property cleaned up at the time that you went out to re-inspect?
I don't believe that it was fully in compliant, but she was cleaning.
Yeah, we were in the process of it.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead, based on the testimony of Ms. Matthews and her daughter, and as well as the two code enforcement officers, I'm gonna go ahead and not enter this order for the one-day fine, because it sounds like you were substantially complete and a significant amount was being thrown out. But I will ask Officer Jewell to go re-inspect and go out there and speak with you, make sure it's all cleaned up,
Okay.
so that we can
Okay.
move past this.
Okay.
And if, Your Honor, if you could, before they go, I just wanted to remind that there is a 2-year cease and desist, so it needs to be maintained that way.
Right.
Oh, it's planned on, we're trying to get the wetness and the smell from the storm. We just fixed the leak, and now everything up there has gotten wet. So we can only do so much, because I'm not allowed to do a whole lot with my COPD and my AFib. They told me not to do a whole lot.
And
Well,
then
Ms. Matthews, so what,
I'm working, I mean,
what
they
he's
say,
saying is just keep it up.
Yeah.
That's all.
that's what I'm saying, I'm
I
trying.
understand.
so it's starting in May, runs for 2 years. If any day they come out there and there's junk basically accumulating around the property that isn't out by the curb,
Right.
to be in the trash, that's an automatic fine. They
Okay.
do these one-day fines like this, so.
I says, don't store it where we are, I can store it in the front where the trash area goes.
Well, hopefully not store it, you're sitting it out to be removed.
Okay,
Oh, and Your Honor, I just want to let her know that my next reinspection is scheduled for the 19th of July. Yes, ma'am. All right? Thank you.
Happy 4th of July.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we got any other?
A and C's, no, sir, that was the final one.
Okay,
A did come in, so that's going to be next.
okay. Seeing that there are no more affidavits of noncompliance, anyone here to contest those, I'm gonna move the balance of those orders to be entered and move on to the new business of the day. First case is item number A on the agenda, COD 19-00836, Robert Gordon, Nancy Gordon, and Robert W. Gordon. And this is for property at 12181 Wellington Avenue in Port Charlotte. Officer Chikalinski, yours.
My name is Jason Cheklinski, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. Address of the violation is 12181 Wellington Avenue. Zoning is RSF 3.5. On 3/1/2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: excessive growth of grass, weeds, other vegetation, growth exceeding 12 inches in height, encompassing more than 50% of the mowable lot. Outside storage of miscellaneous items to include, but unlimited to, household furniture, metal, wood, multiple IPMC violations to include unsafe residence, fire damaged structure with holes in the roof throughout the structure, damaged decking, beams, trusses, support columns, posts, structural cracks in exterior walls, broken windows, damaged interior walls and ceilings, doors damaged and or missing, leaving the residence unsecure, creating an unsafe condition. The interior not being maintained in a clean and sanitary condition and is unfit for human habitation. Evidence of insect and rodent activity, damaged electrical service, disconnect panel, electrical system damaged, lanai is falling apart, pool is unsanitary and in disrepair. During the investigation, photographs of the property were taken on 3/1, 4/8, and 6/14/2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the condition I observed. I would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
Are you Ms. Gordon? Ms. Gordon, take a look at the photos in front of you and let me know if you object to their entry. Basically, or do they not reflect the picture? Are they someone else's property? I mean,
It's mine.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and enter those as composite exhibit A or 1, whatever our system of the day is. Please proceed, officer.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I have had no communication with the property owner. On 6/14/2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations still substantially the same. This ends my testimony.
Miss Gordon, please tell me, you're not living in this house, are you?
No.
What is the situation, Miss Gordon, with this property?
It burnt down. And I didn't have insurance on the house. I don't know what to do with it. I'm by myself. My husband's in a nursing home. I don't know what to do. I have no money to do anything to that place. I don't know. I've tried giving it away to churches. No one wants it because I owe back taxes on it. I'm guilty. I don't know.
I understand. Ms. Stacia, what's the county's recommendation on this one?
County recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the cited code sections and given 30 days from the date of the order to bring the property into compliance or thereafter fined $50 for each day the violation continues to exist. The issuance of a 2-year cease and desist order for any repeat zoning violations and an abatement in the event of noncompliance with the cost of the abatement to be added to the fines and costs.
Ms. Gordon, do you own any other property? Where are you staying currently?
I'm living in Rotunda Lakes rental apartments right now.
And given the circumstances, given the potential hazard of the health, I'm going to go ahead and enter in the order. Now, this is not an order that's going to send you to jail or anything like that. This will constitute liens against the property, but it'll also provide the county the ability to go in and clean up the property if necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in that order based on the county attorney's recommendation, and I wish you the best.
What do I do?
At this point, it doesn't sound like you're in a position to do much with the property. So the county will take action whether they're going to go in and demolish it or they're going to just continue to lien it. It sounds like you've got other issues about being able to keep the property under the tax situation. So
yes, I'm
it sounds like it's going to work itself out one way or the other.
So I do nothing. I don't.
Unless you're in a position to be able to hire a contractor to fix all these issues.
No, I mean, how much more trouble can I get into about this?
Speak with Mr. Horton about that. You might even be able to deed the county the property over in lieu, depending on if there are other creditors involved. So to get out from underneath it.
Okay.
Next case is item C on the agenda, COD 19-01036, Ronald Fisher, for a property at 19972 Kenilworth Boulevard, Port Charlotte. This again is Officer Chekalinsky. Officer, when you're ready.
Jason Chekalinsky, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 19972 Kenilworth Boulevard. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner record is Ronald Fisher. On 3/19/2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations. Motor home on a vacant lot, outside storage of but not limited to wood pallets, tires, mattresses, tarps, and other miscellaneous debris, creating a junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, photographs of the property were taken on 3/19, 3/26, 4/30, 5/17, and 6/14/2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
That's not my property.
Not your property?
That's not my property. Yeah, the lines were different. I had a survey done. The trash he's talking about, the mattresses, this, that, and the other, were not on my property. I had paid $375 for a survey to be done to get the property lines, and I got a permit to put up a privacy fence 6 foot, and I've been doing that. I have 6 months, I said, to have that done. All the trash is outside my property.
Let's before we get into the So you're saying that those photos do not, those not your property?
The front photo, yes, and yes. My RV, yes. This first one right here with the van in it. No, that's the back trail. No, that's not on my property, no. The RV and the fence line, I had to change that because they came out and like he'll know that I was on the wrong, the lines were wrong because there was no survey done when I bought the property. So they just built a bridge beside it, and the only stake that they had, when they did the bridge, they lost that. So the property lines were off, so I had the survey done, and when it came out, it changed everything, which she'll tell you I was on the wrong spot at the beginning.
Can I see the photo?
These first two pictures then? Or
Yeah.
Let me take
I have the permit right here for the fence. I also have, let's see, pictures in my phone of the property lines now.
So you also did not post these no trespassing signs?
Yeah, that's my signs, yes.
Okay, so your property's to the...
I moved, when I bought the property, it was homeless camps back there. And they've moved all but one out, which that's all his trash all the way around my property.
Okay.
The mattresses that are in there and all that, that's all his trash. He's still there. His name's Joseph Berkeley. And I don't know why the police have evicted everybody but him, and he's left all the trash all the way around that place. And I'm getting blamed for it.
Okay. I'm going to let the officer continue with the case. I'll look over I'm not going to admit these at the moment. I'm going to take them under advisement. We'll go through it a little bit later.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I have had communication with the property owner. On 6/14/19, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations substantially the same. This ends my testimony.
Okay. And have you reviewed this? So is it just the junk-like conditions, or are we also looking at
Motorhome.
The RV is there.
motorhome, the
I'm
RV?
sorry. The RV is still there because I'm using it for the generator to work on the fence and as a tool storage shed.
The fence is an open permit?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have it in my hand. And I also have the plot plan and all that, the survey that I did.
Is that the survey?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to make a copy of this because I don't want to lose this. Can we get a copy of this?
I paid $375 for that to be done.
Here's what I'm also going to do. I'm going to go ahead and enter the photos as county's exhibit number 1. The two photos that you object to, I'm not going to take them as evidence of the violation. What I'm going to do, I just want to...
I've cleaned up everything else that's inside my fence line. There's no debris, no outside storage. I'm using the RV, like I said, for the generator and for water so that I can work on the fence, which I have, I guess they said 6 months complete.
So, Officer Chikolinski, when was the last time you were out to re-inspect the property?
The 14th of June.
Okay. And had everything been cleaned up?
I saw from the street there that the motorhome was still there and that the pallets were still there.
Okay, so just today.
Those are way old pictures, yes. That's way old pictures there. Doesn't look anything like that.
So, Mr. Fisher, today, what is on the property? It's just the RV?
Just the RV, yes. And I'm building the fence, yes.
How soon are you planning to move that RV out?
As soon as I get the fence done, I'll move it. I'm using it, like I said, for power to do the saws and things like that, and for water because it's 110 degrees outside.
Right, because you don't have there's not a house on this property.
No, I'm going to build a permit, or get a permit to build a house, though. Yes. As soon as I get the fence done, I'm pulling a permit for that.
Okay, I see the county is recommending 15 days to bring the property in compliance. Is there a basis for that? Stacio?
Oh, not beyond the fact that that RV's been there for quite some time and it's prohibited use of the property.
How soon are you going to be able
How can I make it so that the RV is not prohibited?
If you remove the RV, then there's,
I mean, but is there any other way? I heard something about if there's a permanent structure.
if there's a home on the property, you might be allowed to have an RV in your zoning classification.
If there's a permit for the home,
No, it has to be a principal.
not even used for an office,
No, I don't believe so.
not even if the
Zoning officials here, but I'm almost positive that it's a principal structure. It's not a permit. The code reads principal structure.
Okay.
How soon are you going to be able to finish the fence?
I could probably have it done in 30 days.
Then I'm going to go ahead and enter the order in to give you 30 days.
Okay.
To get it complete. There'll be, if there's a violation thereafter, it'd be a $50 a day fine.
Okay.
And the county is asking for a 2-year cease and desist order, basically saying, don't park any more RVs there for the next 2 years. Don't leave any junk. So I'm going to go ahead and find all the violations. We're going to find that the only one that's outstanding is the RV. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You want the original back?
You want the original?
And this is our
And we're going to enter the survey as exhibit number 2.
2, okay.
Okay. Oops. Next case is item D on the agenda, case number 19-00949. Are you, Mr.
Frank Tenteromano.
Can I just call you Frank? 'Cause I.
Yep, Frank, it's fine. Your Honor, I have some exhibits here and a letter of defense.
Were you here earlier when we swore everyone in?
Yes,
Were you sworn in?
yes, I was.
You needed to, oh, okay. These troublemakers need to be sworn in.
Sorry.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please answer I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Frank, I'm going to let the officers go forward with the case. Explain it to me while I thumb through your file.
Good morning. I'm Officer Gloria Wahlberg. The address of the violation is 1157 Casper Street. The zoning is RSF 3.5. Current use is Bs. The owner of record is Frank Tetramano.
Sorry, the current use is?
RSF 3.5. Current use is Bs.
Bs, okay.
Bs. On April 15, 2019, I conducted a site inspection of the address and observed the following violations of the lot cleared with millings installed for drive access within a scrub jay habitat area without a permit or HCP fees paid. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 23, 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the condition I observed. I would like to offer the photographs and the rejected mulching permit into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1. Okay.
Okay. I accept.
Thank you. Officer Wahlberg, before you continue real quick, the mulching permit is unrelated to the driveway, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to mulch the remainder of the property.
Okay, that's what I was trying to make sure.
And the notice of violation was served by certified mail and posting. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I and Natural Resources have had communication with the owner regarding this case. On June 21st, 2019, I conducted the final review of the database, finding the violations still substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony. Tina Powell is here if there's any other scrub jay issues, questions.
Mr. Frank, what's going on here?
Your Honor, I have some exhibits I'd like to
Sure,
for the
please.
court, and along with...
Unless you want copies, you're not going to get them back. Is that okay? Do you want copies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have originals there.
Okay.
You're welcome to make
Why
any
don't you,
copies you
we're going to
want.
make copies, and then we'll go ahead and enter them as your exhibits. Why don't you go ahead in the meantime and just walk
Okay.
through what you sent me?
All right, so Just for the record, I've offered you 10 exhibits that I've given to the court. And Exhibit 3, on the last page of Exhibit 3, it's a contract. The additional terms is the motivation for Anger Landing, operated by Charles Stefan, to make a driveway, since he would lose $40,000 if driveway were not completed within 12 months of the closing in 2016. So I'm offering the motivation, and I believe Gloria Wahlberg has information and knows that I did not clear that and make that driveway. She spoke with the person I just referred to, Charles Stefan, and Charles Stefan admitted to her that he did it. Okay? Now, let me continue with my defense, please. Exhibit 4, dated 2 days after the Corkins Anger contract was initiated by Charles Stefan so that he could complete the driveway without losing his $40,000 as stipulated in the additional terms of the contract that he signed with the owner, with the buyer of the lot adjacent to my lot. That driveway that you're looking at, Your Honor, they say is on my land, code enforcement. It's not, because if you look at one of my exhibits, an aerial shot, it shows that the clearing is not on my line, because it shows the property line and is not on my property. I have never cut, cleared, or removed anything from my lot, because since I purchased it back in 2015, I found out that it had the stigma of being a scrub jay habitat, in spite of not having scrub jays. And to this day, even though I spent $1,000 to get a environmental study done, which the person that did it, the company that did it, was state and federally certified as an environmental engineer. And in his report, which is part of your exhibit, it clearly shows that it's not only not a scrub jay habitat, but it's unsuited for scrub jays. I don't know how all these scientists get the information on where a bird likes to go and where they don't like to go, but that's besides the point. So Charlotte County has in effect made my land worthless, since the owner of the adjacent lot has had one obstacle after another in trying to build a house, in spite of the $76,700 extortion fee paid to the county to mitigate the scrub jays.
This is your neighbor.
My neighbor, let me make it clear. Charles Stefan owned 18 acres. He split and sold me the first 5 acres. And shortly, 6 months after I bought the first 5 acres, he sold the adjacent 5 acres, which is adjacent to my lot, to Corkins, which you have the contract that has been submitted as evidence. Okay, so in that contract,
Give me just a second.
Go ahead.
He did a lot split twice, or he did a subdivision?
I'm sorry?
Did he split the lots twice, or did he subdivide the property? Like actually go out and plat it with rows and the whole work?
As far as I know, he did plats, and he sold off 5 acres to me, and then 5 acres to my adjacent neighbor to the south of me. Okay. Exhibit 7 and 8. After I spent $1,000, I already mentioned this about, okay. And when I got the Scrub Jay certified survey that I paid $1,000, I submitted it to U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Charlotte County. And both refused to remove the stigma from my property. Charlotte County says, "Oh, it's not them; it's the federal government. If we don't follow their orders, we're going to lose funding. And too bad. Go to federal government." But federal government is doing nothing, not responding. I've called, emailed, letters, everything. I've contacted all my elected officials, from the U.S. President Trump, all the way down. And I spoke at this place right here in front of all the commissioners about the plight, the extortion fee of demanding that before I do anything on my property, I got to pay them $76,700 before I do anything. And if you'll notice, one of my exhibits, the permit for my neighbor, he's got every obstacle, even though the fee's been paid, $76,000 plus Charles Stefan paid thousands more in fines for violations according on his land. So even in spite of that,
Real quick, 'cause I'm still waiting for the exhibit. You submitted the $1,000 review fee to the Charlotte County and to the.
and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife in Vero Beach, Elizabeth Landrum.
When did you submit that? Was it before?
The dates are on the exhibits that I've offered.
Like in the last 2 years, 5 years?
Oh, yeah, in the last two years, yeah, within the last 2 years. And nothing is done. Nothing is done. Okay.
Your Honor, I think we're getting beyond the scope of.
I know. Well, and but since we're on a roll here.
But like I said, the exhibit, the aerial show that it's not on my property, and I know that Gloria Wahlberg or any of code enforcement know that I didn't touch that. I don't have any heavy equipment, and I wouldn't even dare, because I knew what I was up against, okay? To make matters worse, I've received evidence that homeless people have been squatting on my land. Now and then, and since I can't do anything to my land, like putting up a fence, what am I expected to do? Is the county going to put up a fence for me to protect my sacred land from trespassers, or give me another violation?
Okay. All right. At this point, let me just. I'm gonna let the county go forward when the exhibit.
So, Your Honor, my exhibits show that other parties had a reason. As a matter of fact, Corkins told me himself that it's not a drive. It's not. You can't even drive on that thing. It looks like you could drive on, but it's all dirt, and you can't go there with a two-wheel vehicle. He told me himself, "Oh, it's a fire break." So I said, "Okay, it's a fire break," but I didn't do it. I did nothing. I showed in my exhibits that those two parties have a direct interest in putting that fire break or driveway, what they call, in there.
Frank, get this. Let's. I got the exhibits coming in. I'm gonna let the county give their presentation while I thumb through them,
Okay.
and then I'll call you back up.
This is only until Exhibit 3 because
Can I get the originals back, Your Honor?
Yes, you're gonna get.
Yes,
the original.
okay.
They only gave me half. They're still.
Okay,
Still copies.
fine.
Stand hanging there for a second. You have
So I just have a few points of clarification. The property was originally split by deed split, and the $1,000 reference was paid to a consultant, not to the county.
Okay.
And so under the county's habitat conservation plan, you can choose to participate, or you can request a release from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which is what that survey was meant to do. We requested a copy of the survey to have on file. However, we don't have the authority to take something out of the approved habitat conservation plan area, as it's tied to our incidental take permit with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
So let me just. I'm going to walk through all this so that you understand, so that I get it right. The county went forward and identifying that there are scrub jays throughout the county, and that many people were having problems developing their properties, went forward and got a permit basically for everywhere that had been identified for scrub jays.
Correct.
That's their incidental take program.
Yes.
Now, as part of that program, you have an agreement with the Fish and Wildlife Service that you'll basically, people will pay you, you'll permit through the county. There's a fee associated with that, and the county will do whatever they're supposed to do to preserve the little birds. But there's an option out, which is you submit directly to Fish and Wildlife.
Which I did.
Okay.
Yes, so.
But they don't have the ability to sign off on that. And I know personally from involvement with the Fish and Wildlife that they take a long time to issue those permits.
Yes, years.
Correct.
So if they, but let me keep going down my thought patterns. I just want to get it all in my head right. If the Fish and Wildlife Service accepts his survey and says you are not in the consulting zone, then he is clear to get his permits from the county without paying $76,000 or whatever the.
It's already been paid, Your Honor. The money's already been paid to organized crime.
Okay.
Correct. So
it's organized,
if the
very
U.S. Fish
organized.
and Wildlife Service approves that, they will send us an email or a letter saying this property does not require participation in the county's habitat
don't respond.
conservation plan. And then we have received, I believe, 1 or 2 to date from the service from other applicants that they have exempted from the county's habitat conservation plan.
Mm-hmm.
As the permittee, the Charlotte County, for the habitat conservation plan, there are two steps that go into compliance with our permit. It is paying the base fee, which, as Mr. Tentamorano said, has been paid, as well as the minimization requirements. When illegal clearing happens, we have to demonstrate we have a process in place to address those minimization criteria that weren't addressed during the actual impact, which is what we are here for today, is just those compensation for that minimization requirement to maintain compliance as the permittee with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is if you are aware of a violation, you have to take action, otherwise the Fish and Wildlife Service is going to come after the county and their permit.
Correct. To maintain compliance for legal clearing. Again, if the service provides a release, then that goes away as well.
When was the last time you had any conversation with anyone at the Fish and Wildlife Service?
I've never. I've contacted. I called, left messages on the phone. I've sent emails. Like I said, I sent letters to the U.S. President Trump, to all my elected officials, senators, all the way down. And I stood in this room, like I said, presenting this scam to the commissioners, and they said there's nothing they could do. They don't want to lose their federal funding.
And have you guys seen copies of what he submitted to the county? I know that you are to the state. I know the feds. I know that you can't approve them, but have you seen copies?
Yes, we have a copy of the survey done by his environmental consultant.
Your Honor, I'm just adding this other stuff just to add. But the main thing is the county's own aerial shot of my property shows the clearing that you showed me the picture of. That aerial shot shows it's not on my property, and yet they're going after me. And they know, Gloria Wahlberg knows that I didn't put that fire break in, or driveway as they call it in. She knows that Chuck Stefan did, and he did it. I gave you the evidence of the contract that shows that if he don't put the driveway in within 12 months of the contract in March of 2016, he will lose. $40,000 went into escrow that he had to do that. He went 2 days after he did that contract. He came to me and asked me to change the property line so that there would be an easement so that he could put in a driveway. And I said, okay, no problem. You're going to put a driveway, no problem.
Do you have a survey of your property? I mean,
it's enclosed as one of the exhibits, the survey.
Well, I saw.
As well as the aerial shot showing that the clearing is not on my land. A county shot.
Well, I'm assuming that's from the county's GIS system?
Yes.
I don't have that photo just yet, but that system isn't a survey, so it's not highly accurate.
It's not from me, it's from the county. The county provided me with that Photoshop.
And has the county confirmed at all where was the county certain as to the location?
How did they determine that's on my land is what I want to ask.
There's a survey stake or survey pin in the road, and that's what I went by. And then there's a survey stake at the corner of the property. And that's where I took the photograph.
A wooden survey stake or
yeah.
a rod? Okay.
And that's where the no trespassing sign and where I posted it.
So I'm going to object to that because it wasn't a rod, it was a stake. Anybody can move that stake and put it anywhere they want. I didn't put the driveway in or the fire break. And
Frank,
the agent...
I'm going to hold you off for a second because we're still waiting.
Okay.
You've identified 3 issues, okay? And so of these 3 issues, the one about whether or not the county has a legal system for this habitat conservation plan, or whether the Fish and Wildlife Service hasn't responded to your request, that I can't weigh in on. Those issues are either with the Fish and Wildlife Service, although I'm sure that they can provide you some other contacts there, or should have been challenging the county's process, should have been challenged after it was adopted. It's not, I can't challenge that in this forum. The issue about whether or not somebody else cleared the property, it's like the gentleman who was here earlier, Mr. Wint. He tried to fix a piece of a property that he bought that had not been previously permitted. It's effectively a status violation. It has nothing to do with whether you did it or not. It has to do with whether it occurs on your property. But the issue of whether or not this occurred on your property is entirely relevant.
Evidence.
Okay, so here's
in the county.
Here's what I'm going to do. I would like to continue this case. I don't want to dismiss it. What I want to do is I would like to continue this case to August 7th, at which point I'm going to give the county an opportunity to confirm the location of this road. And if it is not on your property, then the case will be dismissed.
Your Honor, I respectfully request that you not even bother with that and just simply look at the county's aerial shot.
The GIS aerial shots are not surveys. They're not intended to be that specific that you can rely on them for those purposes. I mean, when there's a situation where there's a house or something else, it's very clear that you're identifying.
Okay, what about my defense providing the court with the contract whereby, if you read on the last page of the contract, the Corkins Anger Landing contract, the last page, the signature page, there's additional terms, and it says that the seller, Anger Landing, is going to put $40,000 in escrow to have 12 months to put in the driveway. Is that not the motivation to put in the driveway?
Motivation, there's no evidence that they did it, though.
That they did what?
They actually put it in a driveway. There's other parties.
Well, you're quoting.
I don't have anything in here about amounts put in escrow, contractors.
No, you have it. You have it in my exhibit number, whatever exhibit number it is.
Well, I have a contract that says that there's going to be a road put in.
Right.
I don't have any evidence that they actually went forward with that contract and put the road in.
Oh, I can get you. Well, you could look online and see who owns the property now, and it'll confirm that Corkins owns that property.
And that's what I'm asking you to do. At this point, what I'm doing is continuing your case and getting the.
I think it's unnecessary, but okay. I think you should dismiss it. I think I've given you more than a preponderance of evidence here, suggesting that I am not guilty.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
At this point, I think that you've rebutted a presumption fairly well, but I'm going to. This is a factual issue. All right.
Fine.
The road is either on your property or it's not. And in order to give me enough time to go through all the materials you provided and give the county an opportunity to confirm this and go after the actual violator, I'm going to go ahead and just continue this, and then we'll get to the bottom.
What time on August 7th? Same place?
I will do you one better. I will make yours the first item of the day, 9 o'clock on August 7th.
9 o'clock, same place. Thank you, Your Honor.
Binder, something so. I'm going to hold this one aside and look at later. Okay. Next case is. What I do? Did I lose my? I did.
Do you want me to give it to that one for you?
No, it's okay. You can take that. Next case is item G on our agenda. This is case number 19-01483. It's a 100-acre property LLC at 3133 Crestwood Drive. My first question will be, is it actually 100 acres or is this false advertising?
My kid's favorite show, so.
Oh, okay. All right. And what is your name, ma'am?
Barbara Herrera.
Barbara Herrera. Okay, Ms. Herrera, I'm going to go ahead and let Officer Leonard get started.
My name is Rhonda Leonard, Certified Code Enforcement Officer, Charlotte County. 3133 Crestwood Drive is zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is 100 Acre Property LLC. On April 22nd, I conducted an inspection at the address and noted the following violation of a semi-tractor cab parked or stored in a residential zone, creating a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 22nd and June 28th. I have also included photos taken by me from previous cases in November of 2018 and March of 2017. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer these photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, so entered.
I have spoken with Ms. Herrera concerning this matter via email. Notice of violation, notice of hearing was served in accordance with Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes by certified mail, was prepared as a recurring offender due to previous cases for the same violation. I conducted the final inspection on June 28th, finding the truck has been removed. I am currently seeking a cease and desist order due to the previous cases. This concludes my testimony.
Okay, Ms. Herrera, it sounds like you're not going to be, you're being found in violation only for the purposes of setting up a cease and desist order so this doesn't reoccur. Do you understand that?
Yes, I've spoken to the tenant, and I've told him if this happens again, he's going to be evicted. I mean, I was being lied to at the beginning. I had told her. He was telling me it was somebody else's truck. So, I mean, you could do so much.
Right, right. It sticks out.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything additional to add?
No, that's all.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the county's order on this one and enter a 2-year cease and desist order.
Okay, so
that's it. If no fines, however, if 6 months from now, Officer Leonard's out there and she sees it, she'll file an affidavit of noncompliance and you'll be subject to a $100 a day
and I'll be
fine.
filing an eviction notice. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, next case. We're going to stick with you, Officer Leonard. It's case number 19-01703, item H on the agenda. Francisco Granero, LLC, 21503 Mallory Avenue, Port Charlotte. How are you doing, Dr. Granero?
Good, Your Honor. How are you today?
All right. Now, I know that you own multiple properties. Is this a new one?
Your Honor, I have a suggestion. I don't know if you're interested. I have a very nice wine room and scotch room in my house, and you and I could get together and just discuss all my 70 properties to make sure I don't
When
have
you
any
sell
further
them all, they're
violations.
no longer in Charlotte County, I would love to take you up on that offer.
You know, I do cigars also if you would like.
All right. Let's go ahead and, Officer Leonard, why don't you walk through this one?
Rhonda Leonard, Certified Code Enforcement Officer, Charlotte County. 21503 Mallory Avenue is zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Francisco Granero, LLC. On May 9th, during a follow-up inspection at the address for a previous case, I noted the following violation of what appeared to be newer windows installed on the residence. A review of permitting found no permit on file for window installation. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 9th and June 28th. I have also included photos taken by me on May 26, 2015, showing jalousie windows on the residence, and on December 12th of 2018 with the windows boarded and not visible. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer these photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay. No, I'm seeing no objections, so entered.
Notices of violation and hearings were sent to the owner for the same violation of windows installed without a permit at 22456 Catherine Avenue in March of 2017 and at 21346 Austin Avenue in October of 2018. I received an email from Ms. McEnroe on June 28th regarding this matter. Notice of violation, notice of hearing was served in accordance with Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes by certified mail. Respondents were given 10 days to comply with the listed violations. A review of permitting on June 28th found a permit has not been applied for. This concludes my testimony.
Okay. So what you indicated, Officer Leonard, that what was the violation on this property previously?
For junk conditions, that was heard, I believe, in April.
Okay. Was that, real quick, Doctor, was this property, you purchased this property recently and cleaned it up?
Yes, Your Honor. Just to recall your memory and the court's memory, the issue with this house was we had a tenant that was not, he wasn't very clean, let's just say it that way, and Rhonda cited us for junk-like conditions. He had about 3 or 4 of those in 2 years. So I stood, in front of you, I think about a month or 2 ago, and I said, listen, just give me 30 days and I'll get him out, and conversation over. You did that, and we were able to get him out. I believe the issue is a couple things. When Rhonda was there, and I don't want to speak for her, but when Rhonda was there, this gentleman, I don't know if this was one of these where he was trying to turn the house into a grow house or what have you, all the windows were boarded up. So at that time, I wasn't cited for any windows. the picture that Rhonda was providing from 2015, I believe those were sometime in May of 2015, May 26th. I went through my records. I purchased the home about 7 to 8 weeks after May 2015, roughly July of 2015. When I purchased the house, I've never, that I know of, and usually my handyman goes through me for any of these big purchases, i.e. windows, etc. I didn't replace the windows. So I'm under the impression that when I bought the house had the windows that are there right now. I do agree and understand with what Rhonda's saying, that in all the properties that we own, there have been 2 citations before for windows because my previous handyman didn't realize that just because you buy a window at a store doesn't make it an impact-resistant window and up to code, etc. So I think the issue here is that I bought the house 2 months after these initial pictures. I haven't replaced the windows of the house. So my speculation is that the owner of the house at the time fixed up the house a little bit to sell it to me. I bought it, and here we stand.
Okay, so I'm looking at photos from 18, photos from 15, and photos from 19. So as you stated, the photos from 15 show jalousie windows all around. The photos from 18 show what I can appear to be some jalousie windows, and other windows are boarded up, and I can't honestly tell what's there. And then you have painted and cleaned up the property. Officer Linder, has any permits been pulled at all for this property since?
No, sir.
Since time in memoriam? And there are still some jalousie windows on here.
I believe that's a bathroom window.
Well, I think there's
that
a
has
door.
the jalousie.
Okay.
I believe that window, I believe Rhonda's right. I believe that's going to the bathroom.
Okay.
Your Honor, the county would submit that the code violations would run with the land. The code violations would run with the property.
No, the issue is that if there are, if these, Dr. Ranero, if these windows, which appear newer, were put in 1972, before there was a building code and before the county kept records, or maybe even 10 years ago, when the county would not been required to maintain those records that far back, I'd be willing to say that.
Well, what I've done to the house is...
Well, let me finish. There may not be enough evidence to show that you put the buildings in, but these are clearly post 2015. Someone needs to get a permit for them, and that's all the county's asking for, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Just get an after-the-fact permit.
And I'm not here to disagree with that, obviously, certainly by any means. All I'm here to say is, if you could please give me what maybe you and I would consider a reasonable time to get that permit, because I was thinking about it for the last day or two. I think my option here is going to be, instead of replacing these windows, probably, if I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's 2 options: put impact resistant windows or put shutters. And I think financially it might be better for me to just put shutters in all the 7, 8 windows, and it might take me a little bit of time. And by time, I don't mean 6 months or a year, obviously. I'm just asking for a reasonable amount of time, and I will get this done for you.
I'm going to do you one slit in between, because there's a third option, which is you might, having seen this issue before, you might not be able to get permits for those windows, because if you can't identify who made those windows, it could be a problem. So I'm going to give you 90 days to bring them into compliance, and you may ultimately find out that you have to replace all the windows anyway, because that might just be easier when you're trying to permit after the fact.
I mean, I'll fix it one way or another. So thank you for the 90 days. I do know, because I went and I touched these windows, and you know, I know a little bit about windows. These are not impact resistant windows. So I think if they're not Rhonda, am I correct that if they're not impact resistant, the only way is to either replace them with impact resistant or put shutters in the existing ones?
If the existing ones were permitted, they probably would just require shutters. I know the Florida Building Code changed a couple of years ago on the types of windows that they're allowing, so I don't even know that these would be permittable or not.
So just putting shutters on this might not bring it up to code?
It might not.
Who made these windows?
If a lot of these windows will have a sticker in them with a model number, a manufacturer, a serial number that you can probably go online and pull the paperwork from, have your contractor look into it.
Who do I address this with then? Who?
That would be the plans examiners over at the building department, because they would ultimately make the decision if they would be permittable or not.
Be kind enough to send Mayor an email with
contact information. Sure.
Information, sure, and certainly you're kind enough to give me 90 days. I could assure you, one way or another, I will fix this within 90 days.
Okay, sounds good. So ordered.
Thank you.
Oh, Kay's here. Okay.
When we get there.
Okay, next case is item I on the agenda, Department of Health, case number 15-00076, John and Deborah Bates for a property at 1208 Fleetwood Drive, Port Charlotte. Hey, Mr. Bates?
Morning, how you doing?
I'm all right. Mr. Bates, we're going to go ahead and let staff go forward with their presentation, and then we'll have a quick chance to talk. Officers, as you're ready.
Good morning. Gail Gursky, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. 1208 Fleetwood Drive is zoned RSF 3.5. The owners of record are John and Deborah Bates. The case was initiated on February 14th of 2019 after receiving a complaint from the Department of Health that the owners were in violation of the inspection and pump out ordinance. I took a photograph of the property on February 14th of 2019. The photo fairly and accurately represents the conditions I observed. I would like to offer the photograph into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
You don't have any subterranean photos of the...
I do not, no.
Mr. Bates, this is your property?
Well, mine and my wife's in the bank, and you all own some of it.
Somebody, yep. There's somebody else.
Pretty sure the IRS has got a little kick in it, too, so hey.
Probably a Spanish land grant on it, too. All right, I'll go ahead and enter this as Composite Exhibit 1.
I've had contact with the owner. The notice of violation was served by certified mail in accordance with Florida Statute 162. On June 27th of 2019, the Department of Health verified via signed affidavit that this address remains in violation. This concludes my testimony.
Okay. Bates, you understand what the case is?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you making plans to...
Well, I mean, I'll show you what I got.
Taken care of?
I'll show you what I got.
Okay. He's going to one-up you. He's going to tell you.
Can I come up there?
Sewer.
Can I come up there?
Yes, you can.
You see, we had it pumped out.
Okay.
There you go. That was also pumped out for the inspection. And that's the cost of the septic tank.
Okay. You didn't put the
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to notify you that they've been out there, looked at it, and all that kind of stuff.
well, all I see is invoice. I don't see any evidence that the work's been done. So here,
This says paid that it was pumped out and inspected. Or listed was pumped out.
it looks like a work order, but I don't see, it doesn't indicate that it's been paid. Here's what I'm going to do. First, let me make a copy of this because you're going to need this. I'm going to enter this as county's exhibit number. I'm sorry, respondent's exhibit number 1, and these things are just factual. You either got it pumped out or you didn't get it pumped out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 30 days to follow up.
That's the receipt. The pink one's the receipt.
That looks like that's just an invoice. That could be a receipt based on what that company does. It could also just be a quote to do the work. So what I need you to do is I'll give you 30 days.
Do you want a picture of when the big truck was sitting in front of my house pumping it?
Do you have a picture of it?
No, but it's okay.
That would have been helpful. Look, all I see is couple pieces of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 30 days to get the company to contact Officer Gursky and let them know that they did it.
Your Honor, if
Or receipt that it's been paid.
if I could, the ordinance also states that they have to engage with DOH on this.
Who?
Department of Health.
Pump out companies contact the State Department of Health.
Right. They were supposed to do that.
Well, apparently they did not.
So then you drag me in here because they didn't do their job.
I don't know that they didn't do their job. Are
Well,
they,
now
is
you're
anyone
telling-
here?
well, you're starting with they didn't give me a receipt, which I showed you. That
I see an invoice. I don't see that it's been paid, and I don't see a date when the work was conducted. I didn't see that on there.
Well, let's look at it again when it comes back.
Okay.
I'll go stand back over here.
Sure.
where it's supposed to be.
They're the originals.
Pumped out in green tank.
Okay.
You can read it, I can. I'm not trying to be nasty or nothing, but it says right there it was pumped out in green.
Well, and that's why I'm telling you, you have 30 days to get them to contact Department of Health in the county, let them know that that was done.
I'm showing you right here.
At this point, per the ordinance, there are other obligations that have to be taken care of. It's not just cleaning out the tank.
Okay, what other obligations?
I explained that DOH, Department of Health, needs to be contacted. That's part of the obligation.
Do we have anyone here from Department of Health today?
Not today, no.
Okay. When was the last time we confirmed with them whether or not anything had been filed?
June 27th.
Okay.
And on the bottom of your notice of violation, it did explain that you could contact Department of Health and ask them any questions if you needed to.
Would you like to?
Okay, so this work order says that it was done on the 30th of May. As of a month later, June 27th, Department of Health hadn't received anything. So I'm giving you 30 days to get that cleared up. You know, it sounds like just a miscommunication issue with your contractor, and once they clear that up, it's not going to be an issue.
Okay. That it?
That's it, Mr. Bates. Thank you.
All right, I'll be back next month.
I hope not.
No, I've got an appointment next month.
Oh, okay. Okay. Next case, item J, 15-00371, Colin Higgs, and the property is 3149 Felda Street in Port Charlotte. This is another pump-out case. Are you Mr. Higgs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just give me just 1 second. Mr. Gursky, go through the dog and pony show.
Gail Gursky, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. 3149 Felda Street is zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Colin Higgs. The case was initiated on February 14th of 2019 after receiving a complaint from the Department of Health that the owners were in violation of the inspection and pump out ordinance. I took a photograph of the property on February 14th, 2019. The photo fairly and accurately represents the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer it into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, so entered.
I have not had contact with the owner. The notice of violation was served by certified mail in accordance with Florida Statute 162. On June 27th of 2019, the Department of Health verified via signed affidavit that this address remains in violation. This concludes my testimony.
Okay. Mr. Higgs, you understand the case?
I do.
Okay. Are you working to get that resolved?
First time I ever heard about this was a certified letter. I've had no correspondence whatsoever otherwise. So, but day after signing it, called SOS. They were out the next day. The tank failed. Money paid. Still waiting on permitting.
Okay.
So,
You So more work is going to be done on the property. Do you need some additional time to get that all cleared up?
I can't, it's Department of Health permitting. They said, and according to SOS, they said it could take 3 to 6 weeks.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead then.
Zero control over it.
I'm going to go ahead and give you 90 days to resolve that. And if for some reason, you know, you need to get a new tank or something like that, I'll ask you to contact Officer Gursky and
If I need to what?
get a new tank or something
No, I
extreme.
do need a new tank.
You do need a new tank, but that, okay, so they're gonna,
Money
all right.
paid.
All right, well, if you're gonna get a new tank, it's gonna be worked on and inspections and all that, I'm gonna give you 120 days, okay, to get this resolved.
Appreciate it.
He will have satisfied our situation at the time, so that'll be.
Okay. All right. There we go.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Next case is item K on the agenda, Department of Health 15-00555, Simone Montanet at 1149 Vernon Avenue, Port Charlotte. And I understand the property owner is here.
That's that 120 change.
Oh, okay. Ms. Montanet, have you been sworn in? Were you here when we swore everyone in the beginning? No. Go ahead.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please answer I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if we can get you worked on real quick. Officer Gursky.
Gail Gursky, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. 1149 Vernon Avenue is zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Simone Montanet. The case was initiated on September 20th of 2017 after receiving a complaint from the Department of Health that the owners were in violation of the inspection and pump out ordinance. I took a photograph of the property on February 13th of 2019. The photo fairly and accurately represents the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer it into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, do we have a affidavit from Department of Health on this one?
Yes.
I don't see that I have one in the file. Do you have one with you?
I do.
Take a look at that real quick. Okay, I'll go ahead and enter the photos in this Composite Exhibit Number 1. I'll add the, okay. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Montanet, do you understand what this is all about?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And are you making plans to get this resolved with the Department of Health? Basically, they require you to have someone come out, pump the tank, and
It will take me sometimes because financially I cannot do anything right now.
how much time do you need?
I just cannot tell.
Okay. I'm gonna give you 180 days. Okay?
Thank you.
Because I don't know the situation of your tank or anything like that, I'm gonna give you 180 days to work that up, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so entered. Next case. Item N on the agenda, case number 19-00210, Donald Meeks for properties at 6089, 6105, and 6121 Strauss Avenue, or Strauss Boulevard, Punta Gorda. I have done that. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I am showing.
You've got the wrong address. Which one is it? 60.
Let's confirm this one here. This is case number
My fault, sir.
What?
My fault.
Okay, so which, you're Mr. Meeks?
No.
You're Mr. Meeks, okay. What is your address? And do you want to go home today?
6105 Strauss Boulevard.
6105, and then, so the other two addresses that I listed off, those are your addresses?
No.
No,
Those are also my address.
those are also your addresses.
But my mailing address that my mail comes to is 6105.
Yes, yes. This property is or, and this is an and, which is the next lot over that we're taking.
Okay,
Remember,
okay.
building combined.
All right, just one. We're all on the same page now, which, you know, probably is not good for you, actually, but, okay. Officer Jewell, please go ahead and get started.
One moment, Your Honor. I'm sorry, what? Okay. Hi, Tracy Jewell, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. The address of violation is 6089 or 6105 and 6121 Strauss Boulevard in Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is agricultural general. The owner of record is Donald Meeks. On April 12th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: several unlicensed trailers, boats on trailers, and unlicensed and licensed vehicles on the property, trucks and unlicensed RV included, a dump truck, 2 storage containers on the property, and outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to wood, metal, plastic, and other assorted debris, creating a junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on January 1st, February 8th, March 25th, April 8th, April 24th, and June 25th, 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs and evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Yeah, this is my property, and pretty good photos. Can I keep these or? Okay.
All right, seeing no objection, I'm going to go ahead and enter those in as composite exhibit number 1. Please proceed.
I have had no communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida State Statute 162 by certified mail. On June 25th, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the conditions remain substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay. You're not going to make it easy on me, are you, Mr. Meeks?
You know, some of this stuff is like that truck. You done passed it, but it's gone. That's been gone. I had that towed off. That was really the only what I would call junk, and that was left there by the previous owner.
Okay.
But
generally, a lot of this is still remaining?
A lot of this stuff is still remaining, but I'm 100% agricultural. I got my premise card here. I got the number. I gave it to her boss, Chris.
Okay.
This was Monday before last. And Chris told me that he would have her call me Tuesday.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting on a call. Never did get it. I thought maybe she was on vacation or was busy.
Officer Jewell, when was the last time you were out to inspect the property?
On the 25th of June.
And Mr. Meeks?
Now, this dump truck that you just seen there.
Okay.
It's got license plates on it. I got $1 million insurance policy just on the dump truck.
Mr. Meeks, what's your agricultural use?
I got 200 chickens and 50 quail.
On this property?
On this property, yes, sir.
And how is a boat, an RV, and all these vehicles, an ATV, supporting that operation?
those are not supporting it. I think I'm entitled to a little bit of recreation. On this notice that I got here, it says, this is a hazard to the public right away. What right away? I live so far out in the country, we don't have street lights, we don't have street signs, we've got dirt roads.
Is this a residence as well?
Yeah.
Is your residence as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see that. Is there a home on the property or?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, Mr. Meeks, what I'm having a hard time figuring out is, this is a residence or a business, but from what it appears, how is someone supposed to know the difference between this and an outdoor storage yard, like you see on Duncan Road or other places? I mean, it's effectively the same. That you can get an outdoor storage permit through the county for an agricultural piece of property.
Well, the toy hauler that you see in this picture right here, that went through the hurricane, and the roof leaked, and it warped all the wood on the sides, and you know, the tables, they're made out of presswood, they fall apart.
Okay.
That's being repaired. The only reason a license plate isn't on it, that back door comes down, we had to replace the inside wood on that, and we had to pull the plate off to get the inside wood out, and then, you know, put new wood back in it.
I see, I stepped in it by saying something incorrect, and the zoning official's here to correct me.
Thank you, Sean Cullinan, planning zoning official. I have been sworn. This property, I'm looking at the 2018 tax bill. There is no agricultural exemption, so they are not deemed bona fide ag pursuant to the property appraiser. The uses of storage, while you can have some of your own things, it would be similar to any other residential lot where you would have to have your own, you'd have to have them tagged, pure operable, things like that. Agricultural designation does not give a carte blanche for any use that you want. And that's one of the issues that we're having out in this area, and why we're getting so many complaints and having to bring so many here, is because people have always been under the assumption that these areas of AE, RE, AG basically gave them carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. The intent of it is truly agricultural, as well as some residential uses. Looking at the pictures, we elected to bring it forward for your determination. Based on what we could tell and what we saw, there was no bona fide ag use based on the property appraiser, and it appeared to be violations of the county codes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is not relevant to your case, Mr. Meeks, but you know, you could save some serious money on your taxes if you get your property designated for buying.
Actually, Your Honor, if you're not there January in time to get that tax break for the agricultural, you can't do it again for another whole year.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one that missed that date. There's a bunch of us that do. You know, you get busy doing this, that, and the other thing. That's not the only thing on your mind, although it should be, because it's a good chunk of change.
So what have you cleaned up on the property so far?
I got rid of that truck.
Okay.
I got rid of some of the wood, stuff like that. But the property really, I got some mud trucks, okay?
Okay.
That I use on that property. I don't ever even take them out on the street. Just run them on that property. I got like 7 quads, but I got them in trailers.
Okay.
You know,
trailers tagged?
The trailers that they're in are, yeah.
Okay.
Now these containers, I got 2 containers. One of them, which I'd use for a hurricane shelter. If we have a hurricane, anybody's in need of, you know, a place to stay during the hurricane. That container, it's got an overhead fan to vent it. I get a big Lincoln welder to have electric for it.
Has that been strapped down? Because you can permit containers as buildings, but have you got permits to keep all that there? And because it seems to me that you have another option, which is you could put a lot of this stuff that is not tagged into storage, and it seems like you have a lot of storage options.
Looking at the property appraiser information on this site, there is no primary residential on this site. There's a steel barn and a vinyl shed. If he is living in here and this is his residence, as he states, that might be a violation of Florida Building Code and other things as well. So there could be other issues involved in this if he's claiming that this isn't homesteaded and this does not have a primary residence on it as permitted. It just has a steel barn and a wooden vinyl shed that appear to be built in 88 and 89, respectively.
Which are not single-family residences unless they've been permitted as such.
That would be correct, sir.
I bought it in '05.
Okay.
When I bought it, Gerhard was living in there with his girlfriend. With the money I gave him for that property, they moved to Alabama and bought a peanut farm. And you know, the real estate guy that sold me this property, when I bought it, it had a TD24, it had a Caterpillar front end loader, it had a road grader. There were 5 heavy pieces of equipment on this property. The real estate guy that sold it to me said, "You can do anything out here you want. This is God's country, boy. Come on out. Give me your $195,000. We're going to set you right up." Yeah, they set me
I
up.
wouldn't use that realtor again. It sounds like, Mr. Meeks, you've got a number of problems, and through your testimony today, you might have inadvertently stepped into a few more. I think that you can correct all these issues. I think some of it's going to require you to get, especially if it's a residence and other issues, you may have to go in and possibly get some additional permits. It doesn't sound like, from the zoning official, you have an option to rezone or do anything with this property that's going to allow you to keep everything as is. And you may have to relocate some vehicles, you may have to put some in storage, you may have to get others tagged, but you also have to clean up any junk that's just lying around. Do you understand all that?
Yeah, but I really don't understand what's got to go and what I can keep.
Well, that's why I think that's going to be something we're not going to be able to decide here today. Ms. Stacio, what is the county asking for on this one?
County recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the cited code sections and given 15 days from the date of the order to bring the property into compliance, or thereafter fined $50 per day for each day the violation continues to exist. The issuance of a 2-year cease and desist order for repeat zoning violations and an abatement in the event of noncompliance with costs of the abatement to be added to the fines and costs.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Whether there's a single-family house there, all that issue, that's not something that you've been cited for. If there is a principal structure there, then you may be allowed to have some of these other vehicles. I'm going to give you 60 days to get with the county and have someone come out and tell you exactly what needs to be done. And that'll give you some time afterwards to possibly move or relocate some of those items. But other than that, I'm going to enter in the balance what the county's asking for. And I suspect that there may be some other stuff lingering on the property that you want to get cleared up because you don't want to be back in front of me again.
There's some other what now?
There may be some other issues with respect to how buildings are being utilized on the property. For instance, if you're living in the shed, that has to meet building code if it's going to be a domicile. So you might want to get those issues cleared up, and having it as your primary residence may give you some other advantages to keeping some of the stuff that's on the property currently. So we're going to go ahead and enter that order in, but give you 60 days to work things out with the county.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's two done.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let's take a 10-minute break. We're going to power through the rest. I know there's some people waiting, but there's enough people waiting that I'd like to get it all done in the next round. Get you guys on your way. Okay. All right, we're back on. And our next case, the commercial break, is item number Q on the agenda, case number 19-00898. Don and Richard, I'm going to go Fencial. I apologize if I got that wrong, for property at 29527 Maris Drive in Punta Gorda. Okay. Well, why don't we just move on to the next one in case they went out to the parking lot and they plan on coming back. We'll revisit them. Let's go to item T, which is case number 19-01336, Ronald Perkins, 7174 Sweden Boulevard and 7192 Sweden Boulevard in Punta Gorda. Okay, Mr. Perkins, you have been here waiting patiently, so you were here before anybody else. So let's get you in and out as quickly as possible. Officer Jewell, please proceed.
Tracy Jewell, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 7171 or 7192 Sweden Boulevard, Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is agricultural general. The owner of record is Donald Dean Perkins. On April 12, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: outside storage of miscellaneous items, including but not limited to construction type equipment, some broken down, large pile of tree and yard debris, indoor furniture, household trash, plastic containers, tires, tarps, wood boards, hand cart, ladders, metal, plastic, metal construction scaffolding with tanks on top, metal antenna, and other assorted debris, creating junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. Also found an unlicensed motorhome with a tarp over top, no tag, being stored on the property, along with other vehicles and trailers unknown if licensed. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 12th, April 30th, May 23rd, and June 25th of 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs and evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay. Officer Jewell, real quick, is there a principal use going on the property?
No.
Seeing no objection, I'll go ahead and enter those in as composite exhibit number 1. That's quite a bit.
I have had communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. On June 25th of 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the conditions remain substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay. Officer Jewell, is this property, this is in the Sweden Boulevard, this is in the Ranchettes?
Yes, sir.
And how did the county become aware of this? Was this a complaint, a sweep, aerial?
I am not proactive, so it was a complaint generated.
All right. Mr. Perkins, do you understand what the county's issues are?
I have cleaned up much of it. I haven't cleaned it all. My problem is I had 12.5 acres in Sarasota County.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it. The developer that's buying like 400 acres, and there would have been 12 acres right in the middle of it, which obviously wouldn't have been convenient, and I'm agricultural there. Anyways, I wasn't getting paid, excuse me. They were supposed to pay me last October, and then they moved it a couple of months because of where the county in the city of Venice is incorporating and so on. And I won't be getting my money out of that until theoretically August, unless there's another extension, so on. I'm sure I'm going to get paid, it's just I haven't been. Consequently, I had to rush and buy something to be able to take my stuff from my 12 acres. So this is the best thing I found, and I bought it with all of the stuff that's there. And I was told everything worked, and it does. Granted, it's been setting a while, but all the equipment is out front is running, and
so you've got the stuff you're bringing from Venice. Is that going to be more equipment, or is it going to be your agricultural operation?
It's what I had up there. I got a lot of nursery stuff, and
I'm 81 years old, and I've lived on that property for 38 years, so I have acquired a few things, yes. I am selling everything I can, but right at the moment, I mean, it's down to squeaking for money because I'm not paid and I bought, and I made arrangements and nothing's working out. Now I can't use this property and I can't get the money out of that, so I'm hanging in midair.
So is this, all this, the RV, the equipment, the kind of the piles of junk on this property, you said was already there when you bought the property?
This was, everything there was there when I bought it.
Okay.
And it,
You're
my
not-
lawyer
you're not planning on
my
keeping-
lawyer had checked and everything was okay the way it was.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, there's no district, you know, a lot of people, especially out in the ranchettes, are under the belief that they can just store anything, and there's nowhere in the county where open storage is allowed unless you permit an open storage yard, which then requires buffers and a lot more work. And you said you're gonna, when you get this payment from Venice, are you gonna use that money to help clean this property up?
Yeah, well, I had some help because I'm out of money. My help is gone, but it's basically very clean compared to the pictures you got.
Okay. Well, what is still on site currently?
There's some couple, the trailer on the side of the building there, that some people want it, but they haven't got the money yet. And there was another one that was behind the building. I got somebody interested in that, but like everything else that's going for me, the money isn't here yet.
Officer Jewell, real quick. When was the last time you inspected the property?
On June 25th.
Okay, what was the condition? Was it cleaned up from these pictures?
No. There was one day I was out there was a younger gentleman out there putting some stuff onto a trailer in front of the garage there. But really, all this stuff is still there.
Okay. Mr. Perkins, I'm going to give you the county's asking for 15 days to clean up this property. There's a lot of stuff on this property, especially.
These pictures have got nothing to do with the way it looks now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to assume that it's somewhere in between what you're describing to me and what these pictures are, and that's still probably a lot more than you can remove in 15 days. Plus, you've indicated that when you get some funds that you'll be able to clean up the property the rest of the way. So, I'm going to give you July. You're going to get if you get your money in August, and assuming that's going to be a little bit longer than that, I'm going to give you 90 days to come into compliance. And that's to clean this property up, remove everything that and Officer Jewell can tell you exactly what can stay and what has to go. After that, it's going to be $50 a day for each day that the violation continues, and there'll be an entry of a 2-year cease and desist order on the property, which means that for the next 2 years, the county will inspect on a regular basis, and if they see junk starting to build up again, they can fine you per day, as well as give the county the authority to go in and clean up the property themselves if it's still not in compliance. So that should give you enough time to, if you have to end up giving stuff away, but it'll get it off.
The water tanks that she mentioned, the friend that was trying to help me, the neighbors have a well, ran a hose over and pumped some water up into the tanks. Because there isn't a well, there's nothing except the building there and stuff that's sitting outside.
Well, it doesn't look like you need anything to get permits or to have to do any engineering or anything like that. So this is just 90 days should give you enough time to get it cleared up. Okay?
Okay, I'll do my best on it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you.
We're going to go back and to case number 19-00898 and see if Dawn and Richard, and you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation. I was probably butchering it while you're gone. Is it Fenciel or Fencal? Fennicle. Okay. Oh, that sounds so much better. You should just tell me. I just need to know how many syllables. Can we put that in?
Those are both for them.
Okay. Are they the same two cases? Gotcha.
Different addresses.
Mhm.
Same
Okay, and since we have Officer Jewell already here, why don't we go ahead? Does it make it easier to combine these two into one process?
I would say yes.
Okay, then let's just do the presentation. Let's do both.
Okay. The address of the violation is 29527 Maris Drive, Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is agricultural general. The owner's record are Don Marie Finnicle and Richard Joseph Finnicle. On March 8th, 2019, this case was originally assigned to Officer Moore, then transferred to me. On March 25th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: a small bulldozer and another type of unknown construction equipment on the property. On other dates, April 11th and April 24th, 2019, I have observed dump trucks and other heavy construction equipment on the property, all creating a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on March 25th, April 11th, April 24th, June 25th, and June 28th of 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs and evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay.
Your Honor, can I ask a question? Do you want me to, all the inspection dates are the same? Do you want me to add in the second address with the photographs as well? Okay.
Looks like what I'm seeing, it's the same issue, so let's.
Yes. The second address of the violation is 7291 Strauss Boulevard, Punta Gorda, Florida, 33982. The zoning is agricultural general. The owners of record are Don Marie Finnicle and Richard Joseph Finnicle. And as stated prior to, all the inspection dates are the same. I'd like to offer these photographs and evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, go ahead. I've entered in the first set of exhibits. If there's no objection, I'll also enter in the second. Okay. Very well-maintained piece of property. All right, please continue, Officer Jewell.
The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida State Statute 162 by certified mail for both properties. On June 28, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the conditions remained substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay. So, this looks like a unpermitted use.
We can put this to bed real quick.
All right.
First and foremost, we never got a certified on the second property.
Okay.
We have a premise ID, beekeeper's license, and several other things, of course, like the other guys that were waiting till January because they allow you 1 or 2 months a year to get your stuff done, which right there, being we've applied, it should be put on hold until January. But other than that, we've also had a beekeeper's lease since October of last year, who is a full state agricultural business, which Department of Ag regulates us, not the county. So if I can just submit this stuff to you, we should have nothing else to talk about.
Well, Mr. Finnicle, the ag classification does give you certain exemptions with respect to building permits, etc. Department of Ag does regulate you for your beekeeping operation, but they don't regulate the use of land. And one of the big issues in the test, having worked with the value adjustment boards in the past for whether or not you're going to get that exemption, is whether or not you are in compliance. It's one of the key, I think it's one of the 7 factors they look at, is whether or not you are in compliance with the local zoning code.
And the Department of Ag came out and said we are, because the dump truck is used in our farming operation.
But that's
I can't deliver compost without it.
Well, give me a second. That's the county's determination whether you're in compliance with zoning, not the Department of Ag.
So the county overrides Ag?
No, the county regulates land.
Okay, but Ag already said we can use that land for the beekeeping. We're putting in citrus groves, all kinds of stuff.
How does a dump truck assist beekeeping?
Very easily. The dump trucks, well, the beekeeping is part of our farming operation. We're not just beekeeping. We
Okay.
have citrus, we have compost, screen, topsoil. That's all stuff I deliver to other farms. We use that stuff on our farms. I have a dozen different properties we move bees to. We move compost back and forth. And she said a bulldozer. I've never owned a bulldozer, so apparently she is not familiar with construction equipment. We have a skid steer, a bobcat, whatever you would call it.
Right there, that's a skid steer.
Yep. We have a loader for loading the trucks, and we have a tractor. And all of these, just to let the county know, I maintain Strauss Boulevard for 1.5 miles at our cost. That's what it's used for, also on top of the agricultural. And everything there is, I was born on a farm 5 decades ago. I had the same equipment on our family farm as we have now. She was trying to tell us you can't have equipment for a farm. Bull crap, I'm too old to go shovel horse crap. So you need equipment on farms. And we started this whole process to get our whole legal state agricultural, and that's when we had met up with David Kalin, and we gave him a lease to our property to keep his bees on while we're still interim till January comes to get this done. We've already consulted an attorney. We have went to every extent. And at this point, we feel that Mrs. Jewell is harassing us and discriminating against us because of our operation. Why, I don't know, but it is. I have a document this long against that lady right over there. We have her pictures even discriminate her as trespassing on my property.
Prove, not discriminate.
Well, prove that she trespassed on my property, so depending how things go, we may stop at the sheriff's department on the way out to file trespass charges. I'm just tired of being harassed by her and the county over something we're legally doing. We've already addressed council about it, and I wanted him to come with us today, but he said it would be a waste of our money. He says we'll file an appeal when we leave, and then he'll step in.
Well, let me clarify a few points based on your testimony. So you're not actually operating the beekeeping. You've leased that out to somebody else who's operating it.
Well, yes, right now.
How does your vehicles being
while we're
used?
waiting to get our stuff taken care
I
of in
have
January.
my bee license now.
Yeah, we got all of our stuff. We're just waiting for that January.
We have boxes out now with swarm bait. We have a swarm located on the property, so we have swarm boxes out now. I have my own registration number, my own license with the Department of Ag.
And Department of Ag's already inspected our property. We're
they've come out and
completely in
inspected.
compliance for what we're
Do
doing.
you have any documentation
Yes,
from the
sir.
Department of Ag that I can see? Is this copies or these original?
Those are originals. If you can make a copy, please.
Let's, we'll get some copies made, and I will accept these as Respondent's Exhibit, Composite Exhibit Number 1. I will note that it appears that all the paperwork was obtained from Department of Agriculture after you got the violation notice. Because these went out, this violation notice went out in April. Those were approved, those were submitted in May.
Absolutely.
Well, at that
And our
point, we don't-
lease with David.
Was in October,
was October of last year.
Because we didn't know there was a cutoff. Forget it. We would have done it in January.
Okay.
But we didn't know they only take them a certain time of the year, and and that's how we had gotten David's advice on the bees. He's helping us get started, and that's how we put him in there, because we have swarms of bees we can't get rid of. So now
We're going to
our
make them work for us.
Right. Our animals aren't getting stung. We're not getting stung. So it was something we had to do. I don't know why there's so many bees in our area, but
Well, we're putting in the citrus to grow honey, orange blossom honey to our chickens, heritage chickens. We sell chicks, eggs, the produce gardens that are going in. I mean, this has been an ongoing.
How large is this property?
I'm sorry.
How large is your property?
I think it's surveyed out to
A little over 3
3.3.
Okay.
It includes Strauss, the ditch, and into Cecil Webb.
yeah, that's the Strauss and Maris property.
Right.
They're not deeded together. They're two separate.
Okay, let me, the zoning officials here, and I want to get some clarification, because most of the uses you're talking about, agricultural uses, are allowed in agricultural, but I'm sure there's some nuance I'm missing here.
Thank you, Sean Cullen, Planning Zoning Official. And this is a common misconception in agricultural areas. just because agricultural uses are allowed does not make them bona fide agriculture. Only the property appraiser can make that. So keeping of bees may not get you a bona fide agricultural operation. Growing some citrus trees may not get you a bona fide agricultural operation. This is also an issue where they have their business tax receipt for their coastal erosion control services, which is a company that does site clearing and other similar things to this location. Hence the reason why we brought it forward to you, because it appears that the business, while they might have a lot over on Duncan Road, as they state, their formal address for their business tax is here at this property. They have had numerous violations against them. We've showed you numerous photos of equipment, such as loaders, dump trucks, anything like that that would be associated with that, thereby prohibiting creating a prohibited use of the property. Thank you.
And first, that's where we already nipped this in the butt with the county before. Our corporate address is 5179 Duncan Road. Apparently they don't understand. The mayor's address is my mailing address because there is no post office or no mailbox on 17 in Punta Gorda. The mailman will get killed stopping to fill mailboxes. So
what's at that property, the Duncan's?
Our corporate address for Coastal Erosion Control Services,
It's our office.
I see the business tax receipt for the 2020 details as your address here.
Exactly, that's our mailing address.
So that, for legal purposes, this is your business address, sir.
I can change it to just say mailing address.
Mr.
Well, it says mailing address.
The county.
That's what it says.
Let's get to the heart of this.
Sure.
You have a business address on Duncan Road.
Yes.
The county showed me, look, you got sort of a chicken and egg situation here. To the extent you are starting a farm on this piece of property, you know, the bona fide ag, farming is a listed use. You can work that out with the county. The issue the county appears to be having is not with regards to any agricultural use, it's regards to
discrimination and harassment.
Well, no, it seems to be regards to the vehicles which are associated with another business. Now, one of the photos does show coastal erosion, which
absolutely, them vehicles are used for both businesses, ag and the other business.
Well,
when they're on the property.
Here's how we solve the issue: move the vehicles that are associated with the lot clearing business to your corporate address.
They're not associated with lot clearing, sir. They are aggregate deliveries.
They are part of the farm business.
Fill dirt, topsoil, aggregates. We deliver to many, many farms, different aggregates for trenching, for irrigations.
Yeah, they're used
57
for
rock.
Yeah, they deliver filled dirt.
So you don't do any commercial.
You don't deliver dirt to some of our other jobs, yes.
Oh,
but they're
absolutely.
multi-use vehicles. You can't say a farm vehicle can't go deliver a load of dirt for another company. They're registered, insured, DOT legal, everything legal.
And from this business tax that is on the screen right now, it clearly says mailing address. That's our Maris Drive.
Yes, it does.
Owner, that's his address. Yes.
Hey, let me follow up with the county. Can they get a home occupation to allow this?
Home occupations do not allow any outward appearances, equipment storage, anything like that. Even major home occupations do
We
not
wouldn't
allow
need
that.
that because we're agriculture.
Sir, you have allowances for agricultural uses on your property. You're correct. You do not have a bona fide agricultural operation. You are classified.
Wait.
I get that, but you are classified as residential pursuant to the property appraiser.
All right. Let's clarify one other thing here. If they had a bona fide agricultural operation, I'm not aware of anything under the Right to Farm Act or anything else that says that you're allowed to do outdoor storage of commercial vehicles.
But they're not stored. They're used almost every day. They're parked there overnight as the county parks their vehicles. Every business, whether it's a farm, they got to park it somewhere at night.
And
it's
according
parked
to
there
the
because
flow-
I have the ability to store or to park them.
Well,
but also we secure them.
That's where the disagreement really lies at. Do you have the ability to park your business vehicles at this property?
Agricultural vehicles.
Okay, is this also your residence?
Yes.
Okay, so right now the property is zoned and classified as a residence, which is allowed in the agricultural district until such time as you get your bona fide agricultural Right now, everything you've sent me with regards to actually getting agricultural exemptions is submitted after the time of notice of violation.
Except for the fee lease.
And the only violation that the county seems to be hitting you with is the vehicles. So nothing about operating. Now, if you were building a pond there, which you're allowed to do in agricultural, we would assume that you would be having excavators and all that equipment there to do that. This is all, from your own testimony, just being stored there overnight and occasionally used on site.
Parked, not stored. There's two storage use parked.
Well, you're not using it when you're parking it.
If I may, Mr. Magistrate, this started in 2017 where we started receiving complaints about this. They had an active building permit for their house. That's why we did not move forward on that, because fill was being brought in, stuff was being done for their residential. That was CO'd in 2018, August of 2018. And so we are now here at almost August of 2019. The vehicles are still there. They've stated that they are looking for a bona fide agricultural operation. We cannot verify that. We cannot prove that cannot assume that they will get that, because we cannot assume, sir, that you will get that, because we don't have it. The state looks for the state things. The only one that can deem you bona fide agricultural for taxing purposes, which is what we go by under the Right to Farm Act, is the property appraiser of Charlotte County. Sarasota County, their property appraiser.
Doesn't allow you to store anything anyway, so that's what I'm...
That too.
We're agricultural estate out there. So why would you deny us an agricultural?
So, right, again, just like the zoning allows for those agricultural uses. It doesn't allow for construction uses. It doesn't allow for other things.
We're not doing construction. We're doing
Well,
agricultural business that requires...
that is for the magistrate to decide, and based on the evidence, staff, I believe staff is ready to give our recommendation, unless, Mr. Magistrate, you have any more questions.
Sir, may I interject one thing? As far as the Florida Right to Farm Act, it does state in here machinery used for farming.
Okay, for bees?
We're not just bees.
It's
We're
not
multiple.
just bees.
The bees is the part that we're waiting on for the beginning.
We
We're
have
already in the process
sold-
of doing citrus. We got chickens, we sell eggs, we do all that. It's not just bees. It's a whole farm with a little bit of everything. So yes, I don't need a dump truck for bees, but I do need other trucks to move the boxes from location to location, because the bees don't just swarm to one area forever.
But you're not moving them. You have a lease for someone else is moving them.
David has been
Yes.
moving his bees. However, the trucks, we have been delivering topsoil, composting, manure, aggregates to farms and such for years.
And that's all part of the agricultural business.
And I don't have anything, yes, that's the only thing I have on paper is bees, because that's the only thing that you get a license for. I don't have anything for a license for the heritage chickens I have. The eggs that I've been selling for years. The baby chicks I've been selling for years. I don't have a license to show you because there is none.
Okay.
And until we can apply in January, we're at a standstill as far as that's concerned. But we have been doing ag-related for years.
And the only reason they didn't bust our chops about everything being there while we were building, because while you have an active building permit, you can have a camper on site. That's your 24/7 security. They tried throwing us out of our camper. We had to educate them on the laws of having a permit.
They did
So if
come
I have
several
to, I will go
Disagree
get a
with
building
that.
permit tomorrow to build a garage, and I will drag that permit out for 2 years. Problem solved. While my attorney sues you, and the
I'd be happy to speak with your attorney, sir. Thank you.
I'm sure you will.
All right.
Because I'm tired of being discriminated against.
What is the, all right, I'm closing the testimony at this point. What is the county's recommendations with these two cases?
The county recommends the respondents be found in violation of the cited code section, given 15 days from the date of the order to bring the property into compliance, or thereafter fined $50 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Okay. Mr. Fennecall, describe to me your Duncan Road property. What is that?
It's a commercial building That's where our offices are housed.
Okay.
It has a little parking lot out front. We can't put the trucks there because they will not let you put anything outside. It's something they ran in some backwoods newspaper a couple years ago that nobody's seen.
The beautification project
Yeah,
of
beautification of Duncan Road. So they won't let anybody keep anything outside. Not that I would anyway, because I park my trucks there. Them fuckers are down in Cuba the next
your
day.
mouth,
I
watch
cannot
your
be put
mouth.
out of business by not being able to keep track of my equipment. They don't care if my trucks are stolen. They're still going to get their county paycheck. That will put 12 of my people out of business, their families, their mortgages, their kids. So, no, I'm looking out for the best interest of my company and my people. I don't give two craps about these people over here trying to put us out of business. Okay. And we've already consulted an attorney. Like I said, I was going to bring my attorney today. He said it'd be a waste of money. He says, they're just going to do what they want. You go appeal it the minute you walk out the door, and then we're going to sue the county. Including her personally, because we're going straight to the sheriff's department to have her arrested today for trespassing. Her pictures show her on my property.
I've had my fill. I think that based on the evidence, I don't see how the current vehicles are distinguished from your commercial business, which is located off-site, and the operations you currently have and are allowed in the AG zoning district. At some point, if you get bona fide ag and the Right to Farm Act allows you to do outdoor storage, which is, in my opinion, that has not been, it's classical interpretation, you can resolve that issue. But for now, I'm going to give you, I know that it's difficult. If you can't move the stuff to the Duncan Road facility, you'll have to look for another outdoor storage yard.
Move it anywhere.
Okay.
I will not.
Well,
And
then
also with this B lease,
we're done.
Can't do nothing.
Yeah. Well, we'll find that out when you make your.
As soon as we appeal it, it stops. My 10 days stops the minute we go file this appeal. You can't proceed with that 10 or 15.
I'm going to go ahead and order. I am still, despite continue arguing, I'm going to give you 90 days to find a new location. You'll have 30 days from the date of the entry of the order to make your appeals, and take what action you need to take.
Yep. Absolutely. Our attorney's ready to fire it off.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hopefully, you get arrested today after I leave the sheriff's department. If not, you're investigating, told to go to the state attorney general on you. And when you take pictures, don't be on somebody's property when you do it where you hang yourself.
All right. Next case. Let's see.
That was 90 on both properties.
90 on both.
Okay.
Next case is item number BB on the agenda, case number 19-01523. Kevin Cupper and Wayne Habercorn, I hate when I get things wrong, at 1067 Riggs Street in Port Charlotte. What is your name, sir?
Wayne Habercorn.
Okay. Habercorn, that was so much easier. I apologize.
And it'll be real quick and easy.
Okay. Officer Roadhorse, floor is yours.
Good morning, Gary Roadhorse, Certified Code Compliance Officer with Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 1067 Riggs Street. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owners of record are Kevin Cupper and Wayne Habercorn. On April 29th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and review of the Charlotte County permitting database on case number COD 17-00063, finding that permit number 2017-09-21229 for an after-the-fact screen enclosure had expired on January 12th, 2019, and a new permit 2017-07-15143 for fill dirt and a retaining wall had expired on January 15th of 2019. The old no permit case was closed out, and this case took its place for expired permits. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 29th, June 17th, and June 28th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs and complete permit history for both permits into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay. So entered. Well, let's start with the fact that Mr. Habercorn pulled permits, So we're starting from a positive place here. Is there anything additional, Mr. Roadhorse?
Yes, Your Honor. The notice of violation was posted in accordance with Florida Statute 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance reference to the existing violations. I've had several conversations with the owner. On June 28th, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations are still substantially the same. That concludes my testimony.
But all the violation is, just need to get the permits. Has the work been completed?
I'm not sure if the screen has been completed, but there's still a lot on the fill dirt and retaining walls to do.
There's about 25 foot, I think, left of the retaining wall.
Okay. All right, so what's the plan here?
I lost my business with the red tide and everything that I had in Fort Myers. So I just recently, in the last 60 days, got a different job, been working there.
Okay.
And basically, I just need some time to get the money together again.
How much time do you need?
Catch up on a mortgage. 90, 120 days.
County have any objection to 120 days?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and enter an order giving you 120 days. After that, it'll be $50 a day.
It'll be done.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay. Next case, item CC on the agenda, is case number 19-01624, Brian and Gina Collette for 2272 Beacon Drive in Port Charlotte. Okay, Officer Roadhorse.
Gary Roadhorse, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 2272 Beacon Drive. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owners of record is Brian and Gina Collette. On May 2nd, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address, finding outside storage of wood, tools, assorted containers, and assorted other debris. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 2nd, June 17th, June 28th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay. Assuming no objection, I'll go ahead and enter it.
The notice of violation was posted in accordance with Florida 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance reference to the existing violations. I have had some contact with the owner. On June 28th, I conducted the final inspection, finding, although it's improved, the violations are still substantially the same. That concludes my testimony.
Okay, what has improved, Officer Roadhorse?
Honestly, if this had not been submitted as a recurring violation, because I've had multiple cases in the past, I probably would have continued the case to allow them to complete it because they were getting very close. But unfortunately, with that history, and this was submitted as recurring, they have just a few things. The container that they're using to haul items off is still out there, or at least on the inspection was out there and was fairly full.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Collette, you understand everything?
Oh, yes.
You've been through this rodeo before? You need some more time?
Yes, sir, we'd like some more time. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, the county's asking for 15 days. You need more time than 15 days?
Please,
Okay.
yes, sir.
I'm going to give you 45 days to come into compliance. After that will be a $50 fine, but the county's also asking for a 2-year cease and desist order and the authority to clean up the property themselves. I'm going to give that to them, but it doesn't sound like there's any objection from the county. It sounds like you'll get this taken care of in time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Great day.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. Next case, number DD on the agenda, case number 18-03582, Mr. Thomas Brown at 1030 Great Falls Avenue in Port Charlotte. Okay, got a name badge, so I know you're Mr. Brown.
I apologize. My name is easy to say, and it's really not that colorful compared to all these other.
Well, we'll find some way to muck this up.
And 30.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Officer Randolph? I'm ready when you are.
Scott Randolph, Certified Code Compliance Officer. The case number is COD 1803582. The address on the initial screen is off. It should be 1030 instead of 1040. It is correct throughout the rest of it. The address of the violation is 1030 Great Falls Avenue. Zoning's RSF 3.5. The owner of record, Thomas D. Brown. On 11/2/18, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: parking of a box truck, service and delivery truck in RSF 3.5. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on 11/2/19, 11/16/19, 4/22/19, and 6/24/19. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I would like to offer the photographs and evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
I don't see if there's any objections, so entered. Is there a history of violations at this property?
No.
Okay. Okay, please continue.
The notice violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance in reference to the existing violations. I've had communication with the owners regarding this case. On 6/24/19, I conducted a final inspection, finding the violation still substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay, Mr. Brown. The box truck seems like an easy issue.
Well,
it's
yeah, I think it's an interpretation issue. I spoke to Scott about it. First of all, to start at the beginning, we bought the truck back in 2016. As I've told my son a few things, if you're wrong, admit it. If you make a mistake, fix it. And if you're right, fight for it. So based on those three things, when we bought the vehicle, it was configured as a dual rear wheel truck or van. It's actually a 2006 GMC cutaway van. And the distinction is subtle but important in that a cutaway van has an open access to the cargo area. Cutaway vans are used typically for ambulances, cargo delivery, passenger service, multiple applications. So in talking with Scott, I referenced this violation and he said, well, it's intended use. So I wasn't clear on that, so I pulled up the code, obviously, which references parking of RVs, trucks, etc. So my first point of contention, although subtle, is it's not a truck to start with, it's a cutaway van. But regardless, the gist of the code, obviously, I understand you can't make a code that encompasses every single possibility. So what's the gist of it here? It's tandem axle, dual rear wheel. And my box truck, cutaway van, whatever you want to call it, at the time of purchase was configured with dual rear wheels. From the manufacturer, it comes standard with single rear wheel. You can upgrade it to dual rear wheel. So, unaware of this as being a code violation, we purchased the vehicle. I've had it parked there for 2 years, no problem. When I got the violation notice, I immediately took corrective action. Within 2 weeks, at great expense to me, it's not as simple as my thought was, well, we need to make it back to the manufacturer's specific single wheel configuration. It's not as simple as pulling a wheel off. It requires removing both wheels, both tires, replacing them with a different size single wheel, single tire. I've got $750 worth of tires in the shed that are useless now because I can't use them as a single wheel configuration. I've returned it to manufacturer specified single wheel configuration with the purchase of new wheels, new tires, new lug nuts. So now it is a single axle, single rear wheel, cutaway van. I, being a stickler for detail, have gone through all the county codes that I could find. I find no code that regulates the use of single rear wheel, single axle vehicles. Specifically vans. There's nothing about vans anywhere. I don't want to bore you with a lot of things, but his pictures did not show, if you don't mind. This is for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a copy you can keep.
Okay.
Absolutely. That
right.
shows that it's actually a van, open access to the cargo area. The main reason we got that was quite simply, we wanted a nice stand-up van. A Ford Transit van, unfortunately, extended length, $53,000. We happened upon a church that was getting rid of this for $11,000. which gives us the same cargo capacity. It's smaller than a new Ford Transit extended length high roof van by almost 8 inches. So when I talked to Scott, I said, well, I don't understand here. What's the gist of it? Is it the size? Is it the shape of the body? He said, no, it's tandem axle, dual rear wheel. And I said, well, I don't see the issue because although when I bought it, it had dual rear wheels, it doesn't. It doesn't now. It's returned to the manufacturer specified single wheel configuration. So I'm not sure what else I can do. I really don't want to get rid of it.
What are you using it for?
Well, you know, ultimately, it's funny. Ultimately, I like to make it an RV. There's a whole bunch of websites that show amazing configurations. The beauty of this thing is it's 7 feet high. You can stand up in it. It's 7 feet wide. It'll make an awesome RV at some point. However, it's not there at this point. At this point, we've used it for yard sailing. It's enclosed if it rains. I have a pickup truck and a Ford Mustang, neither of which are great for yard sailing, antiquing, any of that stuff. I plan to use it to help my parents move down from Michigan next year. But, you know, Scott and I were talking, and it was all cordial, and I appreciate that. But Scott said, well, it's all about intended use, and most people just don't buy a box truck. I said, well, there again, it's a van.
Was this a dealer installed or box van?
We got it from a church. I don't know. I can't. But like I said, I went to GMC's website. If you look up cutaway vans, they list all the configurations, capacities, because honestly, Scott's right. I don't have a need for, massive capacity. I don't need dual rear wheels. So to me, unfortunately, we immediately bought new tires when we bought the van. So I've got $700 worth of tires and rims. And when I told Scott, I called him, I said, Scott, I fixed it. It's now single wheel. And he said, well, you can't just take a tire off. So I actually took the day off from work, and I went up and I spoke to him, and I showed him pictures. I said, well, it's not just taking a tire off. I mean, I'm not trying to cheat the system here. It's been put back to manufacturer-specified single-wheel configuration. And the funny thing was, on the way up here today at the traffic light, pulled up next to me was the single-wheel box truck, almost exactly like mine. There's from a plumbing company. So it's not that this is nothing different than a new Ford Transit van, except it doesn't look quite as nice. It's just a square box instead of an angle box. It's actually shorter than it's shorter and basically $40,000 cheaper than anything I can get. So, the truth is, if I had to park it somewhere, I could probably find it. But I've had that registered, insured for 2 years, no issues, and I don't know.
Ron, hold on for a second. Do we have any? Officer Randolph or anyone
Your Honor,
else?
if I may, the code violation states that the parking of trucks and trailers which, pursuant to manufacturer design or aftermarket alterations, have or are capable of having tandem axles or 2 rear wheels per side shall be prohibited on private property in residential districts or in residential.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
He significantly modifies it. So,
Yeah.
unlike the situation I think Officer Randolph believed when Mr. Brown called him, where he thought he'd just taken the tires off. This is not a situation. Where did you have the modification?
To be clear, that's manufactured specified tire size and wheel. Dual wheels aren't just, they're opposing offset wheels. If you took one off, the center of gravity would be inside and unstable or way out. And long story short, both of the old, it's got new rims and new wheels set up for manufacturer specified single wheel configuration. The weight limit's the same, all that's the same.
Where did you have that work done?
I did it myself. Okay. And the other thing too is, I read the same thing you did, but this is in reference to parking of,
Did you make any modifications to the axle?
No. The only modification on the dual, if you get it.
It's a dual rim.
Correct. And like I said also, I'm not splitting hairs, but I am splitting hairs because it's not a truck. It's actually a cutaway van.
Mr. Brown, I'm finding that the county has not met its burden on this particular issue. Given the code provisions, I don't think that we're dealing with a violation here.
Thank you.
If in the future you put Mr. Brown Enterprises on it or make it a delivery vehicle or do anything else, but at the moment, I think you're in good shape.
Thank you.
Okay. Case dismissed.
And I'm not being facetious, but at the point that we do finish converting it to an RV, I could put the dual wheels on, have it reconfigured, and then park it appropriately.
Yes.
Correct.
That's the way the-
Thank you for your time.
You guys give me that look. You guys got to lose sometimes, you know. Let's see if we can kick out the next case too. Item number HH on the agenda, case number 19-01854, Mary Bressy for 4060 and 4068 Elvington Road. I don't think there's any elves on that road. Port Charlotte.
How are you doing, sir?
What's your name?
Randy Twombly.
Randy Twombly, okay. That's just a second. We'll go ahead and let, what's your relationship to the property, Mr. Twombly?
I am married with Mary Twombly.
All right. She couldn't be here today?
No, she's at work. She
Okay.
asked me to come here.
Well, people do have to work, it is true. Do we have the file on this one?
Yes.
Sorry. Officer Moore, proceed when you're ready.
Officer Moore, Certified Code Enforcement Officer for Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 4068 and 4060 Elvington Road. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Mary Bressy. On May 21st, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and the permitting database and observed the following violations. Outside storage of miscellaneous items, a tractor and golf cart in disrepair, creating a junk-like condition, address numbers not properly affixed on the property, flatbed trailers being stored on the property, and an unpermitted modular home being used for living purposes, all creating a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 21st, June 18th, and July 1st, 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
While you're looking that over, Mr. Twombly, are you and Mary residing at the property?
No, I'm currently, unfortunately, in the middle of a divorce.
Okay.
She has, for whatever reason we're going through, I mean, we're getting along with it. What happened is my brother, Rick.
Well, I'm gonna let Ms. Moore finish her presentation. Let me go through the pictures a little bit, but.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna keep you keyed up. Well,
The notice of violation, notice of hearing was served in accordance with Chapter 162 by certified mail and by posting, and was prepared as a recurring offender due to multiple previous cases for the same violation. The respondent was given 10 days to comply with the listed violations.
why 10 days? I mean, I know it's one of your standard things, just seems like a lot of stuff.
For the notice of violation, that's
Mhm.
standard to give them 10 days to come into compliance.
I have had no contact with the owner. On July 1st, 2019, I conducted the final inspection of the property and then a final check of the permitting database on July 1st, 2019, finding the violations are still substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay. Mr. Twombly, are these equipment and everything that's here, is this your property or your soon-to-be ex-wife's
Sir,
property?
it's my property.
It's your property? And do you have access to the property to get everything off?
Yes, I've been moving stuff there, but unfortunately, he keeps moving stuff there. We're not getting along.
Okay.
I've made my contingent plan here. I'm going to take the two properties
Mhm.
and sell or move them into my own name so that nothing is allowed to be there, because that's the biggest issue right now. He feels that he can put whatever, and you can't. On the permitting and everything for that modular house, you have to be in spec, and he's not.
Okay, so the stuff that's being stored outside, that's not all of your stuff, that's somebody else's stuff as well?
Right.
Okay, and your concern is that if you can't get this all cleared up, your property is going to be liened?
Absolutely, yes. So that's why I'm trying to get him to move it. And I've done a lot of the moving myself because I get...
How much time do you need to clear everything up?
I mean, a month would be really short, to be honest. Moving by myself, I'm still disabled, and...
Would 60 days be enough time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you 60 days. If after 60 days the property has been cleaned up, there'll be violations of $50 per day for each day that it continues, and the entry of a 2-year cease and desist order to prevent, accumulation of junk in the future. But I'm also going to award the county the ability to go in and clean up the property themselves after 60 days.
Yes, sir.
But I'm sure that if you're well on your way, they will not start that process. Just let Officer Moore know.
Very good.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And, Your Honor, you had a question about the 10 days. Usually by the time we've gotten there, we've been through about 90.
Do you guys send out courtesy notices? I know sometimes I see those in the file, sometimes...
We typically do, and if we don't have that, it's because we've dealt with them so many times and we go straight to the NOV, the notice of violation. If we don't send out a letter, it's because... and we don't have that other precursor, then it's because we've spoken with the people.
Giving you a hard time, Mr. Horton.
I love a hard time. It's okay.
That's why. I will not tell you exactly how many. A significant number of courtesy notices has been sent to my property in Punta Gorda by the city. So I know what it's like for everyone out there who thinks that I'm just up there making judgments. I've had to move a lot of stuff off my property. So do we have any other respondents present?
No, but we do have utilities here for case number L.
Okay, well, let's move that one up next. Item number L, case number 19-0001, Home Savers of America, LLC, trustee for the Pollock Family Trust, 109 Cambridge Drive in Port Charlotte. Okay,
All right.
go ahead.
Gail Gursky, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. 109 Cambridge Drive is zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Home Savers of America, LLC, trustee. The case was initiated on May 6th of 2019 after receiving a complaint from Charlotte County Utilities that the owners were in violation of the mandatory sewer connection ordinance. A photograph of the property was taken on May 6th, 2019. The photo fairly and accurately represents the conditions I observed, and I'd like to offer it into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
I have not had contact with the owner. The notice of violation was served by certified mail in accordance with Florida Statute 162. On July 2nd of 2019, Charlotte County Utilities verified via email that this address is still not in compliance. This concludes my testimony. I'd like to introduce Matt Valentine from Utilities.
Okay, Mr. Valentine, have you been sworn, Mr. Valentine?
Yes, I was here.
Okay. I am sorry that you've been sitting here all this time, but the residents come before the staff, so. What is your position at the utility department?
I'm the business administration manager.
Do you have anything additional to add?
Just other that I reviewed the file and looked at it, and they're not in compliance. They haven't connected.
Okay, they on septic still then?
Yeah, they'd be on septic.
Okay. And when were utilities extended in front of their property?
It goes back to previous owner, so the year 2000.
Oh, okay. Oh. So quite a while. All right. The county is asking for 30 days on this one, $50 a day thereafter. So ordered. Thank you. Okay. Let's see where we are. Okay, the next case I have is case number 19-00902, Louis Moyano, 305 Lawler Street, 315 Lawler Street, and 865 Rutland Circle, Port Charlotte. So it's an L-shaped lot of some kind?
Yes.
How does this work?
It's a corner lot.
It's a corner lot. Okay, officer, please proceed.
Jason Cheklinski, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. Address of violation is 305 Lawler Street. Zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner record is Louis A. Moeno. On 3/6/2019, I conducted an inspection of the address. Observed the following violations. Outside storage of miscellaneous items, to include but not limited to metal, wood, plastic piping, and other miscellaneous debris, creating a junk-like condition, prohibited use. During the investigation, photographs of the property were taken on 3/6, 3/26, 4/17, and 6/19/2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I would like to offer these photos into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
Okay, so entered.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I have had communication with the property owner. On 6/19/19, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations still substantially the same. This ends my testimony.
What did the owner say?
The owner said that he would remove the fence, clean it up, which he did, and that he was working on the property.
Okay, so how much more time do you think he needs?
30 days, probably.
Okay. Let's, this is the celebration of the 200-something anniversary. I'll give him 45 days to clean up the property. Thought I was going to give him 200 days, didn't you? No, no.
Please don't.
Okay. And after that, 50 days, 2-year cease and desist and abatement. Okay, next case, COD 19-01177, Gladys Perez, Israel Colon, and Eduardo Martinez for 21896 Felton Avenue in Port Charlotte. Officer Leonard.
Rhonda Leonard, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. 21896 Felton Avenue is zoned RSF 3.5. Owners of record are Gladys M. Perez, Israel Colon II, and Eduardo Martinez. On April 1st, I conducted an inspection at the address and noted the following violations of excessive growth of grass and weeds, outside storage of miscellaneous items including but not limited to wood, tire, trash, deflated pool, and assorted other debris, glass missing from windows, broken windows, fence in disrepair, and the residence unsecured, creating an unsafe condition. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 1st, May 3rd, June 18th, and July 1st. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer these photos into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
A warning letter was sent to the owners giving 30 days to comply, reference the violations. I have had no contact with the owners concerning this matter. Follow-up inspection on May 3rd found the grass cut, windows boarded but not in compliance with the International Property Maintenance Code, the door to the exterior bathroom missing, the wall inside the utility room damaged with wires exposed, and other conditions were unchanged. Notice of violation, notice of hearing was served in accordance with Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes by posting on June 18th. Respondents were given 10 days to comply with the listed violations. Conducted the final inspection on July 1st, finding some of the outside storage removed. Part of the fence was repaired. The doors to the bathroom and utility rooms were replaced. But all other conditions remained unchanged. This concludes my testimony.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give the county 30 days, $100 thereafter, a 2-year cease and desist order, and cost of abatement. All right, next case, 19-01178, Greenwood Park LLC, 2409 Conway Boulevard, Port Charlotte. Officer Leonard.
2409 Conway Boulevard, zoned RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Greenwood Park LLC. On April 1st, I conducted an inspection at the address and noted the following violations of excessive growth of grass and weeds, outside storage, miscellaneous items including but not limited to a toilet, mailbox, assorted other debris, soffit hanging down, damaged gutter, damaged exterior door frames, and a fence in disrepair. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 1st, May 3rd, June 17th, and June 28th. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer these photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
A warning letter was sent to the owner, giving 30 days to comply, referenced the violations. I spoke with a representative of Greenwood Park on June 21st concerning this matter. Notice of violation, notice of hearing was served in accordance with Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes by posting on June 17th. Respondents were given 10 days to comply listed violations. Conducted the final inspection on June 28th, finding no change in conditions. This concludes my testimony.
Okay. I'm going to go with 30 days, $100 thereafter, and 2-year cease and desist order plus abatement. Entered. Officer Jewell, you're up. Case number 18-03551, Virgil Thomas, 12493 Mizell Avenue, or 28128 Senatora Drive, Punta Gorda.
Yes.
A little explanation on the or. Is that like a...
The address of the violation is 28128 Senator or 12493 Mizell Avenue, Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is single-family residential 3.5. The owner of record is Virgil Thomas. On January 7th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: finding an unlicensed boat trailer expired tag with a boat and a licensed white SUV, and outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to a mattress, plywood, planters, and assorted other debris, all being stored in the vacant lot and all creating a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on January 7th, February 8th, February 23rd, June 4th, and June 25th of 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
Owner of the property owns adjacent lot with some same violations and has been notified on that case, case number COD-18-03551. There is an active cease and desist on that case. This case was taken straight to hearing. I have had no communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by posting. On June 25th, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the conditions remain substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Officer Jewell, did he move the items from the other property to this property?
No, we've taken the other property previously, and we thought it was all one property, but here it's actually 2 separate properties.
All right, I'm going to go with the county's recommendation on this one, which I read as 15 days, $50 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order, and cost of abatement. Any objection to that?
No, thank you.
Okay, so ordered. Next case, 19-594, Israel Colon, Doris Hayes and Gladys Perez at 27465 Pasadena Drive in Punta Gorda. Ready when you are, Officer Jewell, sorry.
The address of violation is 27465 Pasadena Drive, Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is residential single-family 3.5. The owner of record is Israel Colon II, Doris A. Hayes, and Gladys M. Perez. On February 14, 2019, I conducted an inspection and review of the Charlotte County permitting database and found violations of no permits for 2 sheds built on the property and outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to wood boards, metal, and other assorted debris, causing junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. Also found IPMC violations, no screens on windows and some windows, and a back door boarded up. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on February 14th, February 27th, March 28th, April 25th, and June 25th of 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
I have had no communication with the owners regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by posting. On June 25th, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding one shed has been removed from the property, the other is being taken down and in a state of disrepair. No demo permit applied for or issued. Outside storage and IPMC violations remain substantially the same, and an unknown addition or lanai is being built on the back of the house. No permit found. This is the end of my testimony.
Great. All right, I'm going to go with the county's recommendation, 30 days, $100 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order plus abatement. Okay, next case. You're still with us, Officer Joel. 19-00905, Lance Ormsby, 5391 Mays Drive in Punta Gorda.
The address of the violation is 5391 Mays Drive, Punta Gorda, Florida, 33982. The zoning is mobile home conventional. The owner of record is Lance Ormsby. On March 11th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations. An unlicensed, no-tag white pickup truck parked in the front side yard, a black dual-wheel flatbed truck being stored on the property, not allowed in the residential zone, a trailer full of yard and tree debris and ladders, and outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to tree and yard waste, tire, wood, appliances, indoor furniture, plastic, and assorted debris, creating a junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. Also found boarded up windows, IPMC violations. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on March 11th, April 11th, May 13th, June 24th, and July 1st, 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, so entered.
The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations by a warning letter. I have had communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by posting. On July 1st, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the unlicensed vehicles and dual-wheel trucks have been removed from the property. The violations of outside storage and IPMC violations remain substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay. Was the solution to remove the building entirely, the mobile home?
No, there's actually people living there.
All right, well, in that case, I'm going to go with the county's recommendation, 30 days, $50 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order and abatement.
30 days, okay.
Next case, 19-01093, estate of Kenneth Montgomery, 27182 San Pablo Drive, Punta Gorda.
The address of the violation is 27182 San Pablo Drive in Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is residential single family 3.5. The owner of record is Robert B. Montgomery, personal representative of the estate of Kenneth J. Montgomery. On March 22nd, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations. High grass and weeds, outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to ladder, tree debris, plastic containers, wood boards, plastic roofing materials, and sort of debris, creating junk-like condition and prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on March 22nd, April 8th, and June 25th, 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
I have had no communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by certified mail. On June 25th, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding conditions remained substantially the same, with the addition of 2 unlicensed vehicles, one expired tag, and one with no tag, both parked in the driveway. This is the end of my testimony.
Okay, pretty open and shut. I'm going to go with the county's recommendation, 15 days, $50 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order plus abatement. Okay, next case. 19-01619, Cagliostro at 3722 Rosemary Drive or 3722 Rosemary Drive, Apartment Unit A, or 3722 Rosemary Drive, Unit B, Punta Gorda. This should be an interesting piece of property.
It's a duplex.
Okay.
The address of the violation is 3722 Rose Drive, Unit A or B in Punta Gorda, Florida. The zoning is residential multifamily, RMF. The owner of record is William Joseph Cagliostro.
I got that one.
Okay. On April 12, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: high grass and weeds and outside storage of miscellaneous items included but not limited to tire, wooden fence lying on the ground, wooden end PVC fencing in a state of disrepair, tire and assorted debris creating junk-like conditions, and a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 3rd, May 17th, June 12th, and June 25th, 2019. These photographs fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
I've had no communication with the owner regarding this case. The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162 by posting on June 25th, 2019. I conducted the final inspection, finding the conditions remain substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the county's recommendation on this one. 30 days, $100 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order, and abatement. Thank you, Officer Jewell. Have a great holiday.
Thanks. You too, sir.
Next case, 19-00989, David Catapane and Kimberly Catapane, 3212 Elkham Boulevard in Port Charlotte. Okay, Officer Davis. You have been unimplicated to this point. Let's see what you can do.
Paul Davis, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. COD 19-00989. The address of the violation, 3212 Elkham Boulevard in Port Charlotte. The zoning is RSF 3.5, and the owner of record is David and Kimberly Catapane. On March 14th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: at least 3 sheds in the rear yard, and a check of the Charlotte County database found no permits for the sheds. And during the investigation, I took photographs of the property on March 14th, March 27th, April 26th, and May 6, 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the condition I observed, and would like to offer the photographs and a copy of an after-the-fact permit that's been rejected into evidence.
Okay, so entered.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162, that'd be certified mail, and the respondent was given 10 days to come in compliance referencing existing violations. I've had several phone conversations with the resident, but on May 6th, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, found that the after-the-fact permit has been rejected and the violations are still substantially the same.
Okay. Over the permit history. Okay, I'm going to go with the county recommendation on this one. 30 days, $50 a day thereafter. Next case, 19-01304. Oh no. It's for a property at 22325 Albany Avenue, Port Charlotte.
Paul Davis, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County, COD 19-01304. The address of violation is 22325 Albany Avenue. The zoning is RSF 3.5. And the record is Ikavos and Tini Frakadakis. And
That sounded so easy.
You could have.
I could have done that.
on April 10, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: outside storage of wood, inoperable boat with a junk trailer, appliances, buckets, and other debris creating junk-like conditions, and a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 10th, April 22nd, May 16th, May 28th, and June 14th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the condition I observed, and would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, so entered.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with the Florida Statute 162, to be certified mail, and the respondent was given 10 days to come in compliance referencing existing violations. I had several conversations with the residents and gave her extra time to clean up the property. But on June 14, 2019, I conducted the final inspections, found that the violation is still substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Officer Davis, did they clean up anything?
Some very, very small amounts, but the boat was the big thing, and they still have it removed. I've talked to her this morning. She says she's going to, but hasn't as of now.
What about all the kids' toys and all that stuff?
Still there. Wood's still there.
Well, I'm going to give, it all looks like very easy stuff to clean up, so I'm going to go ahead and give the county the 15 days, $50 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order plus abatement. Next case, 19-01792, Thomas Hamilton and Sherry Hamilton, 127 Rogers Avenue, Port Charlotte.
Paul Davis, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. COD 1901792. The address of the violation is 127 Rogers Avenue, and zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner record is Thomas and Sherry Hamilton. On May 15, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: outside storage of wood, buckets, inoperable and unlicensed vehicles filled with debris, and other debris creating junk-like conditions, and a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on May 15th, June 3rd, and June 26, 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the condition I observed and would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered. Officer Davis, what's the prohibited use of the property? Just the outside storage? They're not running a business or anything, are they?
I didn't.
Use is also the outside storage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Making sure. Just something else out there I didn't know. Okay, please proceed.
The notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida Statute 162, being certified mail. And the respondent was given 10 days to come in compliance, referencing existing violations. I've had no communications with the owners regarding the case, and on June 26, 2019, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations still substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Is there anyone currently living at the property? Is there anyone currently living at the property?
Yes.
Are they tenants, or you haven't had any, you don't even know, you haven't even had any communications with the people living at the property?
Not since the last case I had. We closed the case. This is a repeat offender, basically.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and give the county the recommended order 15 days, $100 thereafter, 5-year entry of cease and desist order plus abatement. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Davis. Have a great holiday weekend. Officer Roadhorst. Okay, case number 18-02839, Maria Acevedo, trustee at property located 2400 Midway Boulevard in Port Charlotte.
Good morning, Gary Roadhorst, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 20400 Midway Boulevard. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Maria Milagros Acevedo, trustee of the Maria Milagros Acevedo Revocable Trust of 2018. On August 20th, 2018, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: a tarp covering most of the roof in an apparent attempt to keep out rain. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on August 20th, September 24th of 2018, and January 16th and June 27th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
The notice of violation was posted in accordance with Florida 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I have had a couple of conversations with the owner of the property, with an agent that is helping dispute the insurance claim from Hurricane Irma damage, and the attorney for the owner. During these conversations, the case was continued from February 6th until May 1st, and then continued again until July 3rd at the request of either the property owner or the attorney. On June 27th, I conducted the final inspection, finding the tarp had been covered by an additional tarp, but the violations are still substantially the same. That concludes my testimony.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go with the county's recommendation on this one, 30 days, $50 thereafter. Next case. 19-00396, Dr. Pro Health LLC, 2341 Tallbrook Terrace in Punta Gorda. Go ahead and proceed, Officer Roadhorse.
Gary Roadhorse, Certified Code Compliance Officer, Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 2341 Tallbrook Terrace. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner of record is DR Pro Health LLC. On February 1st, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations: outside storage of tires, construction materials, plastic containers, wood, and assorted other debris. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on February 1st, May 8th, and June 27th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
So entered.
Notice of violation was posted in accordance with Florida 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I have had some contact with the owner who said he is doing some work on the house but would get it cleaned up. On June 27th, I conducted the final inspection, finding violations are still substantially the same. That concludes my testimony.
Has he done any cleanup on the outside?
He has moved a trailer that was encroaching on the property line. He's got a few of the construction items cleaned up, but substantially the tires and wood and stuff is pretty much the same.
You look like an avid recycler as well. Okay, going to go ahead with the county's recommendation, 15 days, $100 thereafter, 2 years cease and desist order plus abatement. Next case, 19-01469, Steve Annexstein and Rose Sprinkles at 27285 Sunnybrook Road, or 27289 Sunnybrook Road, Punta Gorda. All right, go ahead, Officer Roadhorse.
Gary Roadhorse, Certified Code Compliance Officer for Charlotte County. The address of violation is 27285 or 27289 Sunnybrook Road. The zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner of record is Steve Annexton and Rose M. Sprinkles. On April 23rd, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and review of the Charlotte County permitting database and observed the following violations: multiple motorcycles, boats, and vehicles without current tags, motorcycle parts, and inoperable vehicles, and permit number 2016-08-16293 for a water heater replacement that expired on June 10th, 2017, without passing the required inspections. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on April 23rd, May 8th, and June 26th of 2019. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit Number 1.
Okay, so entered.
The notice of violation was sent via certified mail in accordance with Florida 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I've had no contact with the owner of the property on this case, but have had conversations with him previously on a similar case on this property. On June 26th, I conducted the final inspection, finding the violations are still substantially the same, although a bit more, and that concludes my testimony.
Okay, summarize what have been the results of those conversations with Mr. Annexstein.
I have not had any conversations since he moved all the motorcycles in. On the previous case, he had some boats that were not currently tagged, trailers that were not currently tagged. He got a couple of those moved out, moved one of the boats around to the back of the property so I couldn't see it. And then about 2 weeks later decided he was going to move in about 15, 20 motorcycles, and at last count it was over 60 motorcycles. My understanding from a neighbor report is that one side of the duplex is full of motorcycles that they're working on as well.
So it's not a motorcycle gang visiting. Okay, all right, I'm going to go with the county recommendation on this one. 30 days, $50 thereafter, 2 years, and abatement. Okay, next case is case number 19-00564. I know this case had got previously continued. I received a continuance request, I think 3 a.m. this morning. I'm going to go ahead and grant that continuance. We'll just go to August on this one. And next case, 19-00811, Dwayne Ellerston, 2190 Taut Street, Port Charlotte. Officer Randolph.
Officer Randolph, Certified Code Compliance Officer, COD 19-00811. The address of violation is 2190 Taut Street. Zoning is RSF 3.5. The owner of record, Dwayne Ellerston. On 3/1/19, I conducted an inspection of the address and observed the following violations. House had caught fire on 5/6/18 and has extensive fire damage. Outside storage of glass, metal, wood, drywall, cabinets, sink, toilet, insulation, miscellaneous debris creating junk-like conditions, prohibited use of the property. A roof with holes and in disrepair, exterior surfaces without protective treatment, exterior or interior walls missing and in disrepair, ceiling missing and in disrepair, windows cracked and disrepair, soffit missing and disrepair, gutters in disrepair, door in disrepair, and demolition without a permit. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on 3/1/19, 4/1/19, 4/23/19, and 6/7/19. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I would like to offer the photographs into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
Okay, so entered.
Notice of violation was served in accordance with Florida State Statute 162 by posting. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance with reference to existing violations. I've had no communication with the owners regarding this case. On 7/2/19, I conducted a final inspection, finding the violation still substantially the same. This is into my testimony.
Okay, and you're getting a return undeliverable, the mailing address?
Correct. There has been work done there because they went in.
Somebody's there, so
tore stuff
someone's
out.
seen the posting.
Yeah, they tore stuff out of the inside and started the process and then stopped, and they just piled everything up by the curb.
Okay, I'm going to go with the county recommendation on this. 30 days, $50 thereafter, 2-year cease and desist order plus abatement. All right, Officer Randolph, have a great holiday. Officer Moore, you're up for the very last case. 19-00876, Mark Paradise and Maria Paradise for 5271 Grovewood Circle in Punta Gorda.
Officer Moore, Certified Code Enforcement Officer for Charlotte County. The address of the violation is 5271 Grovewood Circle. The zoning is RE1. The owner of record is Mark A. Paradise and Maria T. Paradise. On March 5th, 2019, I conducted an inspection of the address and the permitting database and observed the following violations. A cargo storage container on a vacant residential property creating a prohibited use of the property. During the investigation, I took photographs of the property on March 5th, April 26th, May 17th, June 21st, and July 1st, 2019. Officer LaRue took photographs on May 21st, 2019 when he posted the property. These photos fairly and accurately represent the conditions I observed. I'd like to offer them into evidence as County Composite Exhibit 1.
Okay, so entered.
The notice of violation was served by posting the property in accordance with Florida Statute 162. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance, reference the existing violations. I spoke to Mr. Paradise on May 22nd, 2019 and received a voicemail from him on July 1st, 2019. We issued a continuance in June's hearing until today to come into compliance. However, he has been having trouble getting somebody to remove the cargo container at this time, but we told him we were going to proceed anyway. On July 1st, 2019, I conducted the final inspection of the property, finding the violations are substantially the same. This is the end of my testimony.
Hey, you think he's going to be able to get it done in 30 days? Did he give you any indication?
I left him a voicemail saying that we were going to We were originally going to have it for 15 days, but we extended it to 30 days. And he did, in his voicemail, did say that the person that he did finally find that could move it was going to be available around the 18th of July, so he should be fine.
Okay, all right, well then I'm going to go ahead and order 30 days, $50 thereafter. All right, and that concludes all the cases. Is there any citizen input on any subject? I see one member of the citizenry of Charlotte County here. You have nothing to add? Anything from staff? No? All right, well then, in that case, we're going to go ahead and adjourn, and I wish everybody a great 4th of July and